Chapter 2159. Next, it's the three of you. After killing the two of them, Yi Chunfeng's cold eyes swept over the injured Tuoba Wei Hai and the other two with killing intent. Wait, I think today's matter is a misunderstanding. Faced with Yi Chunfeng, who possessed extraordinary strength and could not be defeated, Tuoba Wei Hai shouted, wanting to retreat in his heart. Misunderstanding? Isn't too late to say that now. Yi Chunfeng snorted coldly and said, fight like a man. The creation sword spirit flew out from Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul and formed an invincible giant sword. The sword split the void and slashed towards Tuoba Wei Hai. When the fortune sword soul attacked, Tuoba Wei Hai and the other two immediately controlled their three void god artifacts to defend against it. However, the might of the creation's sword soul surpassed the void god artifacts. With just one sword strike, the three void god artifacts were sent flying. The terrifying sword might made Tuoba Wei Hai and the other two feel a strong sense of danger. They kept on displaying their trump cards to defend themselves. Ancestral swords, desolation fist, limitless chaos. After the creation's sword spirit forced the three of them back, Yi Chunfeng continued to attack the three of them with powerful killing moves. He was determined to kill them. Unable to defend against Yi Chunfeng's ferocious attacks, Tuoba Wei Hai and the other two immediately opened up their powerful domains to defend against Yi Chunfeng's supreme divine ability. However, Yi Chunfeng's battle prowess far surpassed the three of them. In an instant, the three of them opened up their domains and were blasted apart by Yi Chunfeng. The terrifying supreme force continued to push the three of them back, causing them to spurt out blood. Who is that person? Why is his battle prowess so shocking? Yeah, he's so young, and yet he has such battle prowess. He must be very famous in the void god world. Sigh, the Tuoba family has kicked an iron plate this time. If Tuoba Wei Hai and the other two are killed, the situation in Bewitching God City will change. The scene before their eyes had far exceeded the imagination of everyone in the City of Confusion. As they watched Tuoba Wei Hai's group of three retreating in defeat, everyone was completely stunned by Yi Chunfeng's strength. Bewildering God diagram, kill the enemy. As his injuries worsened, the ancestor of the Tuoba family gritted his teeth and ignited all the blood in his body at all costs. He quickly flew toward the huge formation that was suspended in the air. Flying under the array diagram, Ancestor Tuoba suddenly detonated his body. He controlled the majestic power of blood and chi to wildly fuse into the arrayed diagram, amplifying the power of the arrayed diagram and launching a fatal attack at Yi Chunfeng. Rumble. After fusing with Patriarch Tuoba's blood and chi, the bewitching god diagram turned crimson red. A large number of runes were like ferocious dragons that had been born. They entered the diagram and roared as they attacked Yi Chunfeng. Break! Yi Chunfeng didn't even try to dodge as he punched out divine fists, shattering the formation dragons and clashing head-on with the Art of Confusion. Kill. Seizing the opportunity when Yi Chunfeng was clashing head-on with the Art of Confusion, Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai ignited the power of their blood and controlled their strongest void god artifact to attack Yi Chunfeng. They wanted to take this opportunity to severely injure him. Ka. Just as Yi Chunfeng was being attacked by Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai, the Art of Confusion that enveloped the City of Confusion shook violently. Huge cracks spread across the surface of the art of seeking the truth. Why did the Art of Confusion shatter? Gosh, what happened this time? Seeing the Art of Confusion suddenly shattering, everyone present was stunned. They didn't dare to imagine that someone could force the Art of Confusion back. Even Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai revealed a rare look of fear as a strong sense of uneasiness rose in their hearts. Boom! Just as everyone was attracted by the shattering of the Art of Confusion, the huge Art of Confusion trembled again. Countless cracks spread across the Art of Confusion and it shattered. As the Art of Confusion shattered, two proud figures appeared in the void. When Yi Chunfeng saw the tall old man in a long black robe, he couldn't help but reveal a faint smile. Senior, you have finally thought it through and are willing to come out of seclusion. Remember your promise. I won't let you off if you miss anything. Shen Jiudi looked arrogantly at Yi Chunfeng and warned him coldly. Don't worry, Senior. I won't miss anything that I promised you. Yi Chunfeng guaranteed. Let's go. Seeing Shen Jiudi shatter the art of confusion, Tuobo Weihai and Tuobo Weihai sensed a strong sense of danger. They didn't dare to stay any longer and wanted to escape back to the Tuoba family. They wanted to borrow the power of the ancestral bloodline to fight against Yi Chunfeng and the rest. Do you still want to escape in front of me? Shen Jiudi took a step forward and tens of thousands of Dao patterns appeared under his feet. He restricted the entire space and trapped Tuoba Weihai and Tuoba Weihai like a prison. Your Excellency, the Tuoba family has no intention to be enemies with you. If you are willing to let us off, I promise that wherever you are, the Tuoba family will retreat. Seeing the Dao patterns that sealed the void, Tuoba Weihai and Tuoba Weihai's faces changed. They had no choice but to lower their status and speak softly. Not interested, Shen Jiudi said coldly. He clawed at the void, and the area around Tuoba Weihai and Tuoba Weihai instantly became a vacuum. A terrifying power kept squeezing their bodies and breaking their defenses. Kacha-kacha. Following the sound of bones breaking, Tuoba Weihai and Tuoba Weihai's bodies were deformed by Shen Jiudi's claw. Immense pain instantly spread throughout their bodies, and they were in so much pain that they wanted to die. Wait. As long as you spare our lives, we are willing to agree to any of your conditions. With their lives hanging by a thread, Tuoba Weihai and Tuoba Weihai gave in and begged softly. After killing you, everything in the Tuoba family will belong to I. Shen Jiudi said domineeringly. I still have to negotiate with you. As he spoke, Shen Jiudi's right hand continued to exert strength. The immense power crushed their bodies and souls, killing them on the spot. Junior, I'm going to rob the Tuoba family. Tomorrow morning, we will meet outside the city. Shen Jiudi took away Tuoba Weihai and Tuoba Weihai's belongings and brought the Grim Reaper to the Tuoba family. Thank you, young Master Yi, for saving our lives. The Wan family will never forget your kindness. Seeing Yi Chunfeng land in the Wan family residence, Wan Jinyu immediately deactivated the array restriction. He led a group of Wan family experts and bowed respectfully to express his gratitude. Wan family head, you are too courteous. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, tomorrow morning, I will be leaving. I hope that the Wan family can manage the Lost God City well. Don't worry, young Master Yi. I promise that the Lost God City will be even more glorious under the management of the Wan family. Wan Jinyu nodded and promised. You are really leaving. Wan Ruoqing looked at Yi Chunfeng with a complicated expression. The scene of Yi Chunfeng showing off his invincible might was deeply imprinted in her mind, and she could not forget it. I came here to look for that senior. Now that I have found him, I will be leaving. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, but when I have time, I will come back to see all of you. After that, Yi Chunfeng did not stay in the Wan family residence for long. He bade farewell to everyone and returned to the lakeside residence. He then summoned Diablo. Diablo, we will be leaving the Lost God City tomorrow. Do you have any unfinished business? Yi Chunfeng asked softly. I want to pay respects to Master and bid farewell to her. Diablo looked at Yi Chunfeng with a complicated expression and said while biting his lips, all right, I will go with you. Yi Chunfeng said, no, I want to pay respects to Master myself and talk to her. Diablo shook his head and said, Chunfeng, can you wait for me here? I will be back soon. All right, then go and come back early. Yi Chunfeng did not insist and gave Diablo a few protective items. Diablo stood on his tiptoes and gently kissed Yi Chunfeng's mouth before leaving the lakeside residence in the night. The night passed quickly. Yi Chunfeng, who had been cultivating for an entire night, was suddenly awakened by a series of knocks on the door. When he opened the courtyard door, he saw a girl who looked like a porcelain doll appear outside the door. Moreover, she was holding a jade slip in her hand. When Yi Qianfeng released his soul into the jade slip, his heart was empty. Diablo left in the end. Yi Qianfeng sighed softly. He did not expect Diablo to leave without saying goodbye. Sigh, perhaps she will come back when she can accept everything. Chapter 2160. Long time no see, 9 Thearchs. When Yi Qianfeng's group returned to the Kunlun holy grounds, Sunchasur God, Shun Daoshu, Shun Hingu, and the rest walked out from the Kunlun holy grounds. Zhui Ri, Dao Su, ancient eternity, you're still alive. Even though Shun Jyoti had betrayed the Shun clan back then, the blood of the Shun clan still flowed in his body. Adding on the fact that the Shun clan had already been exterminated, his grudge with the Shun clan had long turned to smoke. Now that he saw chasing Sun God and the others, there was an indescribable excitement in the depths of his heart. Yes, our luck is not bad. We managed to survive the calamity of the god race. The chasing Sun God nodded and said, 9 Thearchs, now that Shun Huang is about to be born, let us fight side by side and avenge the Shun clan. Zhui Ri, you participated in the calamity of the divine race, so you should know how terrifying Shun Huang is. Even the divine emperor was not his match back then. How can you and I talk about taking revenge for the divine race? Shen Jiodi shook his head. 9 Thearchs, you may not know this, but Wuji has already refined the heaven-seizing supreme pill and is now in seclusion to break through to the extreme state of the empty god realm. Once he breaks through, with our combined strength, we will have a chance to avenge the divine tribe. Sun Chasing God said, Heaven-seizing divine pill. Shun Jiodi's eyes lit up. That means that the Nature Dan was also refined by Yi Wuji. That's right, the Nature Dan and the Heaven-seizing Dan were both refined by my father. Yi Qianfeng nodded and took out a Qiankuan ring. He handed it to Shun Jiodi and said, Senior Jiodi, these are the 3 treasures I promised you. Keep them well. All right, since your father has the hope of achieving virtual god peak, then I'll take the risk and stay with you. After accepting the worldly creation fruit, the Xian Tian divine canon, and a divine elixir of creation, Shun Jiodi chose to stay in the Kunlun holy land and fight against Shun Huang with the others. Screech, screech, screech. On the 3rd day of Shun Jiodi's stay in the Kunlun holy land, a high-pitched bird cry resounded throughout the 9 heavens, shocking the entire Kunlun holy land. Immediately after, rolling dark clouds surged in from all directions, covering the scorching sun and plunging the Kunlun holy land into darkness. The Phoenix God is going to break through to peak virtual God. Yi Qianfeng, who was preparing to cultivate in seclusion, was awakened by the long cry of the Phoenix God. Looking at the tribulation clouds that were gathering in the sky, he knew that the Phoenix God was about to break through. While the Phoenix God was receiving the pinnacle divine punishment, the Sunchasur God and the God of Life had also cultivated to the pinnacle of the nihility God perfection stage with the help of the divine creation pill. They attracted the terrifying pinnacle divine punishment and were baptized by it in the vast Kunlun celestial mountain. The news of 3 peak divine punishments appearing in the Kunlun holy land spread like the wind throughout the entire void god realm, causing the entire human clan to fall into ecstasy, while the celestial clan fell into a haze. The Phoenix God, the Sunchasur God, and the God of Life endured 3 days and 3 nights of peak divine retribution. When they were about to break through to peak nihility God, the God of Jade Heaven also attracted peak divine retribution. Although Shun Yaotian had just been revived not too long ago, her foundation far surpassed that of the Chasing Sun God, the Phoenix God, and the God of Life, so the divine punishment she attracted was even more terrifying, as if the end of the world had arrived. While Shun Yaotian was going through the divine punishment to break through to peak virtual God, Yi Qianfeng forcefully merged the spirit of the divine sword into the universal primordial sword, helping Mo to refine the spirit of the divine sword to increase the power and level of the universal primordial sword. After about 3 days, Mo completely controlled the spirit of the divine sword and slowly merged with it. Yi Qianfeng began to comprehend the spatial divine wood's old branch, refining the star dragon pearl, and refining his physical body. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, a year had passed. In this year, Shun Yaotian and the rest had refined the divine creation pill and had broken through to peak virtual god realm. Divine path virtual god, Shun Hungu, and the rest's abilities had also increased significantly. Shun Jodi had refined the heaven and earth creation fruit, the black heaven divine marrow, and the divine creation pill. He had continuously recovered his blood chi, strengthened his life spirit, and greatly increased his abilities. He was only half a step away from breaking through to extreme virtual god realm. The breakthrough was close at hand, but Shun Jodi knew that it would be extremely difficult for him to take this last step. If he cultivated on his own, it would be impossible for him to complete it. The ruins of deity, maybe there's an opportunity in the ruins of deity that can allow me to break through to extreme virtual god realm. Shun Jodi took a deep breath and was determined to enter the ruins of deity to find an opportunity. Everyone broke through one after another. Yi Chanfeng, who had been cultivating in the cosmos realm, had refined all the star dragon pearls and the divine origin. He had broken through the extreme astral body and reached the divine body realm. His physical body strength had increased to 8 trillion gene, and with just his physical strength alone, he could fight against a complete virtual god realm power. However, the difference in abilities between complete virtual god realm and peak virtual god realm was huge. Just the strength of the divine body realm alone was far from enough. Just as Yi Chanfeng was patiently refining the divine origin and cultivating the divine change of 9 transformations to refine his physical body, a strong force of sword wei gushed out from the universal primordial sword, waking him up from his cultivation. He has broken through, has refined the sword spirit and finally raised the universal primordial sword to a whole new level. Feeling that the power of the universal primordial sword had increased by more than 10 times, Yi Chanfeng let out a faint smile. With his current abilities, foundation, and the universal primordial sword, he could definitely fight against a peak virtual god realm power. The day of the ancient Star Road's appearance was getting closer and closer. Yi Chanfeng and the rest's abilities were increasing steadily. Meanwhile, the Sky Tribe, which was shrouded in a haze, had undergone another shocking change. In just 3 days, the 3 holy lands of the Sky Tribe had been massacred, and the Almighties who were above the main stage had mysteriously disappeared. And on the 5th day after the 3 holy lands of the Tian clan were exterminated, a series of roars that spread for tens of thousands of miles resounded in the heavenly palace. A thick, bloody mist covered the endless space, as if a great, vicious creature was about to appear. His Majesty Shan Huang is finally going to be born. Looking at the sky palace that was getting thicker and thicker, Supreme Xintian, who had his hands behind his back, was excited. Although the Sky Tribe was in a bad situation now and had been completely overshadowed by the human tribe and Yiwuji, as long as Shen Huang was born, all the problems would be solved. Kill everyone. I need the strongest blood and chi to reconstruct my divine body. At this moment, a fierce and emotionless voice rang out in the Sky Palace. Yes, Your Majesty. Supreme Xintian did not dare hesitate and immediately ordered people to kill thousands of Almighties who were above the main stage and merge their auras into the blood fog. As the blood and chi above the Sky Palace became thicker and thicker, a ferocious mouth suddenly appeared in the blood fog and released a strong, devouring force. It was like a black hole that could devour the heavens and the earth, crazily devouring the blood and chi. Slowly, the black hole disappeared, and a crimson figure appeared in the blood mist. When this figure appeared, a terrifying pressure appeared in the entire space, causing cracks to appear in the sky. His Majesty Shan Huang. Looking at the figure that was getting clearer and clearer, Supreme Xintian and the others knelt on the ground and bowed respectfully. Get up and follow me to the Kunlun Holy Land. This god wants to see if that Yi Wuji really has the guts to go against this god. I want to let everyone know that this universe belongs to my Sky Tribe. Shan Huang, whose body was as strong as a divine mountain and wore a divine robe, had a pair of deep eyes that swallowed and spat out a bright light that illuminated the sky. Endless Tao will evolved around his body. He walked out of the blood fog and looked at Supreme Shintian and the others who were kneeling on the ground. His voice was as loud as a drum. Chapter 2161. Perfected Divine Body. Yi Qinfeng had been cultivating for countless years in a 50 times faster time flow. He had almost absorbed 90% of the divine original power and cultivated his saintly body to the top level. He had stimulated the potential of the primitive body to infinitely increase his physical strength to 100 trillion kilograms. However, the last realm of the divine change of 9 transformations, the divine body echelon, was too difficult to cultivate. Yi Qinfeng felt that he couldn't break through even after refining all the divine origin. Fortunately, when he was cultivating the divine change of 9 transformations, he had comprehended the old branch of the spatial divine, wood, and cultivated the spatial rules of order to the 7th heaven, greatly increasing the defensive power of the spatial seal. Just as Yi Qinfeng was enduring the loneliness and cultivating in the Qianquan realm, the situation outside the Kunlun sacred ground suddenly changed. Red clouds that covered hundreds of thousands of miles suddenly appeared and covered the entire Kunlun sacred ground, alarming the entire human race. All the races in the Void God world turned their attention to the Kunlun sacred ground. Yi Wuji, I'm here. Aren't you going to come out and welcome me? An extremely arrogant and domineering voice rang out from the red clouds, instantly dispersing the clouds that covered the Kunlun sacred ground. Shen Huang has appeared. Hearing this voice, Shun Jiodi, sun-chasing god, Shun Yaodian, and the ancestor dragon god who were cultivating in the depths of the Kunlun sacred ground woke up from their cultivation. They immediately appeared on the highest peak of the Kunlun sacred ground and looked up at the sky. Since you don't want to come out, I'll come in myself. As he spoke, a foot appeared in the red clouds and crushed the space within a radius of dozens of miles. It was as if it wanted to trample through the underworld as it ruthlessly stepped on the restriction that covered the Kunlun sacred ground. Rumble. After receiving Shan Huang's foot and being modified by Yi Wuji, a large number of cracks immediately appeared on the impregnable restriction. The terrifying power caused the entire Kunlun celestial mountain to shake violently. I didn't expect such a small restriction to be able to withstand my foot without breaking. After failing to break the Kunlun restriction with 1 foot, Shan Huang, who was in the red clouds, stomped a second foot. He ruthlessly stepped on the Kunlun restriction that was full of cracks, but he still couldn't break it. Form the formation. Although the restrictions of Kunlun that Yi Wuji had modified had blocked Shen Huang's attack, Shun Yaotian and the others knew that with Shen Huang's strength, it was only a matter of time before he broke through the restrictions of Kunlun. They immediately summoned the ancient God Destroyer Matrix and placed it above the Kunlun Golden Palace. Yi Wuji, who was refining the heaven-seizing divine pill and trying to break through to the ultimate Void God stage, was hiding under the Kunlun Golden Palace. Enter the formation base. Summoning the primordial God Annihilation Formation, Shun Yaotian appeared in the center of the formation, while Shun Jiodi, Sunchasur God, Tai Yi, Ancestral Dragon God, Phoenix God, God of Life, and Yi Qinfeng appeared at the 7 bases of the formation, becoming one with the primordial God Annihilation Formation. They increased the power of the primordial God Annihilation Formation to the greatest extent, preparing to use this formation to fight against Shen Huang. Rumble. When Yi Qinfeng and the rest merged into one with the ancient God Extermination Formation, the restrictions of Kunlun couldn't withstand Shen Huang's attack and were shattered by his divine foot. Ancient God-slaying array. After breaking the restrictions of Kunlun, Shen Huang discovered the primordial God Annihilation Formation that enveloped the Kunlun Golden Palace. His arrogant face revealed a tinge of surprise. The primordial God Annihilation Formation was known as the #1 formation of all time. It had been lost for a long time, and no one had been able to set it up. The power of the primordial god annihilation formation was even more terrifying. If it could unleash its full power, it could threaten Shun Huang, who was an ultimate void god. "Where is Yi Wuji? Ask him to come out and see me." Shun Huang was like a majestic mountain, standing in mid-air. He looked at Shun Yaotian, who was in charge of the primordial god annihilation formation, and said overbearingly, "Shun Huang, we meet again. I wonder if you still recognize me?" Shun Judy looked at Shun Huang, who was destroying the gods, with hatred in his eyes. He gritted his teeth and said, "Shun Jyoti, I always thought that you were going to be a coward. I didn't expect you to come out." Shun Huang's eyes were deep, and there was a tinge of disdain in them. "It's good that you are here. I don't have to look for you." "Shun Huang, I should have destroyed you back then at all costs." Shun Jyoti gritted his teeth and said, "Haha, Shun Jyoti, do you really think that you're the savior?" Shun Huang laughed and said arrogantly, "There was no difference with or without you back then. You were just one more dead soul." Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. As he spoke, Supreme God Heaven brought thousands of powerful divine tribe almighties and appeared in the sky above the Kunlun sacred ground. They sealed the entire space. "Everyone, get ready for battle." As Supreme God Heaven and the rest appeared, the voices of Yi Chunfeng, Shun Yaodian, and the rest rang out. The chaotic divine beast, Tao Tai, Shun Daoshu, Death God, War Demon, and the rest who had been cultivating in the Kunlun sacred ground all appeared. They were ready to fight to the death with the divine tribe before the ancient road of stars came. I didn't expect there to be so many divine tribe survivors hiding here. Shun Huang glanced at Shun Daoshu and the rest, and his eyes were filled with a strong murderous intent. The divine tribe and the divine tribe were mortal enemies. Shun Huang would not allow any divine tribe almighties to live in this world. Roar, roar, roar. Just as the great battle was about to break out, loud dragon roars rang out from the depths of the Kunlun sacred ground. After receiving the message from the ancestor dragon god, the dragon god brought a group of dragon tribe elites and appeared in the Kunlun sacred ground through the space transfer formation. After a period of cultivation, the dragon god's strength had reached the complete empty god realm. The dragon emperor had reached the mid-level empty god realm. Dragon King Tan, Silver Dragon King, and the rest had also broken through to the low-level empty god realm. The dragon tribe also wants to interfere in the conflict between the divine tribe and the human tribe. Shun Huang snorted and looked at the dragon god, who was wearing a golden dragon robe and a dragon crown. He exuded a strong dragon aura as he walked over in the void. The human tribe is the eternal ally of the dragon tribe. We are willing to stand against a common enemy with the human tribe. Although Shun Huang was terrifying, the dragon god did not back down and replied firmly, "Count in the ancient tribe." At this moment, a large amount of space transfer formation appeared behind the Kunlun sacred ground. Gu Qinxiu brought a group of ancient tribe almighties and rushed to the Kunlun sacred ground. In order to fight against the divine tribe, Gu Qinxiu brought along several ancient trees from the ancient tribe and opened up a space. "Gu Qinxiu, I realize that the ancient tribe must be tired of living. How dare you challenge your god?" The appearance of the ancient tribe caused Shun Huang's face to turn even uglier. "All right, since you guys are courting death, your god shall grant your wish. Your god shall let you know who is the true ruler of this universe. In front of your god, Yi Wuji is nothing but a joke. Wash the Kunlun's sacred ground with blood. Leave no one alive. Yes, your majesty, Shun Huang." Supreme Shintian and the rest replied in unison. Thousands of invincible divine weapons flew out of their bodies and danced in the air. The terrifying power caused the sky to change color and brought about a fatal threat to Shun Daoshu and the rest. However, Shun Daoshu, Shun Yogu, the dragon tribe, and the ancient tribe did not back down. They summoned their own void god weapons and prepared to fight to the death with the divine tribe. Crack, crack, crack. The entire void could not withstand the impact of so many divine weapons and started to shatter. A great war was about to break out. The situation of the Void God world would also change dramatically because of this war. Chapter 2162. Supreme Emperor Heavenly Path. Supreme Heaven Limitless. Shun Huang glanced at the primordial god-destroying formation coldly. Boundless Tao will gushed out of his body, forming a terrifying celestial phenomenon above his head that covered the entire sky. With one strike, the celestial phenomenon merged with the blood mist in the sky. The terrifying power seemed to want to penetrate the 9 heavens and 10 realms. Primordial god-destroying formation, god-destroying strike. Shun Huang attacked with the Supreme Emperor Heavenly Path's power. Shun Yaotian, who controlled the core of the primordial god-destroying formation, immediately activated the god-destroying formation. In an instant, everyone's power was sucked away, forming a boundless god-destroying force that fought fiercely with Shun Huang. Ka. With one strike, the space instantly shattered, turning into nothingness. The entire Kunlun Holy Land shook violently. Although the primordial god-destroying formation's power was terrifying and had merged with the divine power of Shun Yaotian, Yi Feng, and the rest, the gap between the peak of the empty god realm and the extreme of the empty god realm was too big. With one strike, they were evenly matched. No one could do anything to the other. Primordial god-destroying formation, power of eternity. After one strike, Shun Yaotian continued to operate the primordial god-destroying formation, forming a terrifying power of eternity to attack Shun Huang. However, Shun Huang's power was too terrifying. He continued to use unpredictable power to shatter the primordial god-destroying formation's attack, continuously increasing the pressure on Yi Feng and the rest. While everyone was using the primordial god-destroying formation to fight Shun Huang, the Chaos Divine Beast, Tao Tai, Grim Reaper, Gu Qinxiu, and the rest were also fighting fiercely with Supreme Divine Heaven. With Shun Huang's help, Supreme Divine Heaven stepped into the peak of the empty god realm, bringing great danger to Gu Qinxiu and the rest. Shun Qinxiu, let's work together to fight against Supreme Divine Heaven. The dragon god merged with the ancestral dragon pearl and appeared beside Gu Qinxiu with the ancestral dragon sword in his hand. All right, Gu Qinxiu nodded. He merged several trump cards and raised his combat strength to the maximum, attacking Supreme Divine Heaven with the dragon god. Under the joint attack of the dragon god and Gu Qinxiu, they resisted the fierce attacks of Supreme Divine Heaven with great difficulty. They fought fiercely in the void. God, the battle of the 4 clans. Who is that person? How can his strength be so shocking? The battle in the Kunlun Holy Land startled the entire faux god world, causing all the major factions to rush over upon hearing the news. When they saw Shun Huang, whose strength reached the heavens, clashing head-on with the ancient god exterminating formation, many people were shocked by his shocking strength. Could this person be the legendary ancestor of the divine clan, Shun Huang? Shun Huang, it's him. He's actually still alive. Many had heard of Shun Huang's name and knew how terrifying he was. Heavens, the Tian clan is going to fight to the death with the 3 clans. If the 3 clans are defeated, I'm afraid that the entire Void God realm will belong to the Tian clan. Just as the crowd was in awe of Shun Huang's strength and was discussing animatedly, a series of ear-piercing sounds rang out. The Sword God, who had broken through to the late stage of the Void God realm, rushed to the Kunlun Holy Land with a large number of sword domain experts and joined the battle. The fierce battle became more and more intense, and experts continuously died in this unprecedented battle that shocked the entire Void God realm. As the situation became more and more chaotic, more virtual gods died in the fierce battle. You bastards, even if I die, I'll drag you all down to hell. The war demon, who was covered in blood and had been pierced by numerous great void god weapons, roared angrily with his blood-red eyes. He pounced on several empty gods from the Tian clan like a madman. Boom! The severely injured war demon self-destructed and launched a fatal attack on several empty gods from the Tian clan, instantly taking away the lives of 2 empty gods. The war demon is dead. Yi Chunfeng, who was continuously injecting divine power into the ancient God-Destroyer formation, discovered that the war demon had died, and he cried in his heart. Although the war demon hadn't been loyal to him for long, it had helped him a lot. He had even promised to bring the war demon to the peak of the faux god realm. However, all of this had gone up in smoke because of the war demon's death. This had also allowed Yi Chunfeng to experience the cruelty of the battle of the gods. Roar! Roar! You bastards, Grandpa Primal Chaos will fight it out with you. Although the Primal Chaos Divine Beast was powerful, he could not withstand the destructive power of the chaotic battle. He roared and burned his bloodline power to the greatest extent, launching a fatal attack on the empty gods from the Tian clan. Devour. Seeing the Primal Chaos Divine Beast killing several people and being annihilated by the divine weapons, Tao Tai's offensive divine weapon appeared. It opened its bloody mouth and devoured 3 people and several divine weapons in an instant, saving the Primal Chaos Divine Beast from death. Screech! 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 Just as the number of casualties increased, long screeches reverberated through the 9 heavens. More than 60 phoenixes led many empty gods from the demon clan through the teleportation formation and appeared in the severely damaged Kunlun sacred ground. The demon clan, Tai Shintan, who was facing Gu Qinxiu and the dragon god's attack, saw that the demon clan had come to help, and his face instantly turned gloomy. The phoenixes were the top divine beasts of the demon clan. Their appearance at the critical moment could change the situation. Indeed, with the help of the phoenixes and the other empty gods, the pressure on the Primal Chaos Divine Beast, Shun Hung, and Gu Qinxiu was greatly reduced. The number of empty gods started to increase. However, what truly changed the situation was the fierce battle between Shun Huang and the primordial god Annihilation Formation. Enduring Shun Huang's attacks, each stronger than the last, Shun Yaotian, who was in charge of the primordial god Annihilation Formation, was under immense pressure. Every time Shun Huang attacked, she would vomit blood. "Mother, can you still hold on?" Feeling that Shun Yaotian's injuries were getting worse and worse, Yi Chunfeng's heart tightened as he asked. "Don't worry, I can still hold on." Shun Yaotian took a deep breath and said, "We must hold on until your father breaks through. Only when your father breaks through to the Void God realm will we be able to defeat them." Primordial God Annihilation Formation, reverse heaven and earth. The pale-faced Shun Yaotian took a deep breath and spat out mouthfuls of blood into the primordial god Annihilation Formation regardless of the cost. She activated the formation's power and reversed heaven and earth, resisting Shun Huang's invincible attacks. Oof. This guy wants to see how many of this god's attacks you can withstand. Shun Huang snorted coldly. The boundless Tao, while suspended above his head, turned into 2 huge millstones, crushing the space and ruthlessly bombarding the primordial god Annihilation Formation. Puffed, puffed. Enduring the attacks of the 2 millstones, Shun Yaotian's injuries worsened even further. The blood she spat out dyed her clothes red. "Mother, let me help you control the formation core." Yi Chunfeng looked at Shun Yaotian, who was under the most pressure and was heavily injured, and said worriedly, "Don't worry, son. This little injury won't affect me." Shun Yaotian took a deep breath, and the bell of destiny broke out of her body. When Shun Yaotian completely merged with the bell of destiny, her physical strength rose steadily. "Oomph, it's just a divine weapon of destiny." Shun Huang snorted coldly and said, "All right, it's about time. I'll let you all witness this god's true strength." As he spoke, the spatial divine would appeared on Shun Huang's body and instantly transformed into a world. In this world, there were rivers, a sun, a moon, an ocean, and land. It was like a brand new world. Go! The spatial divine would evolve to the extreme, and Shun Huang controlled this world to crash into the primordial god Annihilation Formation. Boom! Facing the spatial attack of the spatial divine would, the primordial god Annihilation Formation was forcefully pushed back several meters. With the primordial god annihilation formation as the center, everything around it turned into ashes. Although Shen Yaotian had merged with the Bell of Destiny and her endurance had greatly increased, the spatial divine Wood's attack still heavily injured her. Strong, Shen Huang is even stronger than he was hundreds of thousands of years ago. After experiencing Shen Huang's might, Shen Jiudi, sun-chasing deity, and the others' hearts fell to the bottom. Chapter 2163. Mom, let's switch positions quickly. Only then can we hold on until Dad breaks through. Yi Chenfeng said anxiously as he looked at Shen Yaotian, who was spitting out blood continuously. But you don't worry, Mom. My physical body is no weaker than a creation divine artifact. I will be fine. If I can't hold on, we can switch positions. Yi Chenfeng said anxiously. All right then. Shen Yaotian knew that there was no point in forcing herself. She immediately switched positions with Yi Chenfeng. Boom! Yi Chenfeng had just taken control of the array when he was attacked by Shen Huang. A force beyond Yi Chenfeng's imagination slammed into his body, making him feel like he was hit by a divine mountain. His body trembled, and a large amount of blood spurted out of his mouth. Chenfeng, are you all right? Seeing Yi Chenfeng spitting out blood after taking the brunt of the attack, Phoenix God and the others felt their hearts tighten as they hurriedly asked, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Attack with all your might. Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath and merged with his Chaos Dharma form. He activated the strongest potential of his desolate body and controlled the primordial God-destroying formation to attack Shen Huang. God-destroying hand. Under Yi Chenfeng's control, the primordial God-destroying formation instantly sucked away the divine power in everyone's body and transformed it into a giant hand that covered heaven and earth. It evolved into a mysterious Tao while as it pressed down on Shen Huang. You want to threaten me with this kind of attack? Shen Huang snorted coldly as he met the God-destroying hand with a punch. Although Shen Huang's punch was extremely small compared to the giant hand formed by the primordial God-destroying formation, its power surpassed that of the God-destroying hand. Boom! The God-destroying hand shook violently and shattered like glass. Everyone, open up your domains. When the God-destroying hand shattered, Yi Chenfeng transmitted his thoughts to Phoenix God, Tai Yi, and the others, asking them to release their powerful domains and merge them with the primordial God-destroying formation. After fusing with the power of everyone's domains, the primordial God annihilation array's power increased exponentially. However, Yi Chenfeng, who was in control of the array, was under immense pressure. Fortunately, he had cultivated the divine change of 9 transformations to the sacred body Great Circle, which had stimulated the potential of the primitive body. He was able to withstand the heavy pressure. Deity Vanquishing Sword. Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath and controlled the primordial god-slaying formation to rapidly form streaks of gigantic sword auras that were powerful enough to slice through anything. These streaks of sword auras fell like a waterfall, shattering the incoming fist auras and slashing toward Shen Huang. Yes, Shen Huang frowned slightly. He controlled the space created by the spatial divine would to collide with the deity vanquishing swords in the air. Yi Chenfeng was in charge of the primordial god extermination formation and was able to fend off Shen Huang's attacks for a short period of time. The chaos divine beast, Shen Henggu, and the others were also engaged in an intense battle with the celestial race's supreme beings. In the fierce battle, Ancestor Fation was killed, and the god of death was severely wounded. If the evil god had not unleashed his power at the critical moment and killed his enemies, the god of death would have died under the siege of the celestial race's supreme beings. Their injuries increased, but the evil god, the Dragon Emperor, and the others did not retreat. They knew that this was a battle that they could not afford to lose. Once they lost, they would be annihilated. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The Phoenixes had an absolute advantage in this fierce battle. They relied on their powerful, gifted superpowers to continuously kill the celestial race's supreme beings, causing them fatal injuries. Gu Qinxiu, dragon god, you two old things die for me. Looking at the scene in front of him, Supreme Shun Tian roared and continuously used the supreme divine abilities of the Tian clan, completely suppressing Gu Qinxiu and the dragon god. They were forced to retreat bit by bit, and blood kept spurting out of their mouths. Their injuries gradually worsened, but Gu Qinxiu and the dragon god did not retreat. Instead, they used all their strength to fight against Supreme Shintian. Hey, Brother Su, do you think the human race will have a last laugh? I don't know. I hope the heavens will protect the human race. Why didn't the human sovereign appear at such a critical moment? If the human sovereign came, he might be able to change the fate of the human race. The human sovereign is a complete hypocrite. The fate of a human race still depends on the Wuji god. Just as the supreme beings of a human race were hiding in the distance and watching this unprecedented battle, Shen Huang, who had lost his patience, launched a fatal attack on the primordial god Annihilation Array, wanting to end this battle in one go. Yi Wuji, if you still don't come out, don't blame me for starting a massacre. Shen Huang roared arrogantly. His entire body merged with the spatial divine wood, turning into a red space. And in this space, supreme divine power was constantly evolving. It was like a furious divine punishment, constantly bombarding the primordial god Annihilation Array. Puff puff. Although Yi Chunfeng's physical body was strong, he continuously spat out blood after enduring the attacks of Shen Huang's supreme divine power. Fortunately, the Chaos Dharma idol was heaven-defying enough to help Yi Chunfeng neutralize most of the attacks. Chunfeng, can you still hold on? If not, let this old bag of bones take control of the array core. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, whose face was pale without a trace of blood and whose injuries were getting worse, the primordial dragon god said worriedly, "Don't worry, Senior. I can still hold on. If I really can't hold on, I'll ask Senior for help." Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath, gritted his teeth, and held on bitterly. But as time passed, Yi Chunfeng finally couldn't hold on and switched places with the primordial dragon god. After another day, Tai replaced the severely injured primordial dragon god and took control of the array core of the primordial god Annihilation Array. Time passed day by day. The fierce battle continued. A thick blood aura filled the void, forming thick blood clouds. The entire Kunlun sacred land became a living hell. After about 10 days, Yi Chunfeng and the other 7 took turns. And under Shen Huang's endless attacks, their injuries were getting worse and worse. They could barely hold on. "Aunt Tian, I'll switch places with you." Yi Chunfeng looked at the god of life, who couldn't take it anymore, and shouted, "Don't worry, Chunfeng. I can still do it." The god of life bit her lip and said firmly, "Aunt Tian, we still need your treatment. Nothing can happen to you." Yi Chunfeng said anxiously, "And I have the primordial blood and endless divine power. My endurance is far better than yours." "All right then." The god of life really couldn't take it anymore. She took a deep breath and switched places with Yi Chunfeng. But the moment they switched places, Shen Huang seized the opportunity. The red space transformed into a terrifying meteor shower, bombarding the primordial god Annihilation Array. It directly caused a large number of cracks to appear on the primordial god Annihilation Array. It was on the verge of collapse. Not good. Everyone, open up your domains. Defend with all your might. When the primordial god Annihilation Array collapsed, Yi Chunfeng and the others opened up their powerful domains, using the power of their domains to forcefully stabilize the primordial god Annihilation Array. But Shen Huang's attack lasted for too long. About 6 hours later, the domains that Yi Chunfeng and the others had opened up shattered. The moment the 8 domains shattered, Shen Huang suddenly appeared in front of the primordial god Annihilation Array. He merged with the power of the red space and punched the cracked primordial god Annihilation Array. Poof, poof, poof. With this attack, Yi Chunfeng and the others were all injured. The primordial god Annihilation Array that they were guarding also shattered. Before Yi Chunfeng and the others had a chance to catch their breaths, Shen Huang delivered another fatal attack, shattering the 7 array foundations in one fell swoop and destroying the primordial god annihilation array that Yi Chunfeng and the others relied on the most. It's all over. Let me send you all to the Western Paradise. Seeing Yi Chunfeng and the others fall one by one toward the Kunlun Golden Palace and smash through it, Shen Huang mobilized his supreme divine power and launched a fatal attack. Boom! Chapter 2164. No! Looking at the annihilated Yi Chunfeng and the others, Shen Daoxiu, the dragon god, and the others' hearts skipped a beat. Once Yi Chunfeng and the others died, the outcome of this unprecedented battle and the fate of all the races would be decided. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying energy continued to bombard the space, shattering the Kunlun Golden Palace. However, under this destructive attack, Yi Chunfeng and the others had disappeared without a trace. Yi Wuji, seeing Yi Chunfeng and the others disappear at the critical moment, Shen Huang knew that only Yi Wuji had the ability to save them under his nose. Yi Wuji, stop hiding. Fight me like a man. Shen Huang released a powerful soul power that covered the entire Kunlun sacred land, but he couldn't find Yi Wuji's hiding place. You don't want to come out? Then I'll kill them all. Let's see if you come out. Unable to find where Yi Wuji was cultivating, Shen Huang was ready to go on a killing spree and kill Shinyogu, the Dragon Emperor, Gu Qinxiu, and the others. Shen Huang, do you think I'll give you the chance to kill them? Suddenly, Yi Wuji's voice rang out. Little 6 paths suddenly shattered the space and appeared above the ruined Kunlun sacred land. He released a powerful devouring force and sucked all the powerful cultivators into little 6 paths. So you're hiding here. Shen Huang's pupils constricted. He controlled his supreme power and bombarded a space wall that was full of cracks. The attack broke through the space, but he couldn't find Yi Wuji. At this time, little 6 paths took everyone into the universe mirror. Stay here. Unable to find Yi Wuji's hiding place, Shen Huang immediately launched a fierce attack on little 6 paths. He controlled the space divine wood to suppress little 6 paths, not giving him a chance to escape. Rumble. While Shen Huang was suppressing little 6 paths with all his might, the clouds in the sky suddenly changed. Endless black clouds surged from all directions, covering the entire sky and dispersing the blood mist floating in the air. Tribulation clouds. Why are there suddenly tribulation clouds? Is someone going to go through a tribulation? Who's going through a tribulation at this juncture? Looking at the sudden appearance of the tribulation cloud, the experts from the various major forces who were watching from afar discussed animatedly. On the other hand, Shen Huang's expression turned extremely ugly. He had swallowed a large number of Divine Clan members at all costs and came out in advance to stop Yi Wuji from breaking through to the Void God Realm. But now, right under his nose, Yi Wuji's tribulation cloud had arrived. Rumble, 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 rumble. The tribulation clouds grew thicker and thicker. The terrifying power of divine punishment was like a surging tide, madly gathering in the 5-colored tribulation clouds. The entire world fell into great chaos. Terrifying thunder swallowed all the sound in the world, making the celestial race powerhouses feel suffocated and terrified. Boom! As the 5-colored tribulation clouds grew thicker and thicker, a 5-color divine punishment tore through the clouds like a giant dragon, shocking the world. Supreme Shintian, quickly take everyone away from the Kunlun Holy Land. Sensing how terrifying Yi Wuji's divine punishment was, Shen Huang's arrogant face couldn't help but reveal a trace of seriousness as he loudly ordered. Yes, Your Majesty, Shen Huang. Supreme Shantian didn't hesitate. He immediately took the Divine Clan powerhouses who were lucky enough to survive and escape from the Kunlun Holy Land that was shrouded by the divine punishment. They hid in the distance. Oh my God, this divine punishment is too terrifying. This is the first time I've seen such a terrifying divine punishment. Yes, just the aura of the divine punishment alone is enough to make people despair. I really can't imagine how powerful this divine punishment is. Just as the humans were feeling regretful over the divine punishment that Yi Wuji had attracted, Shen Huang used the aura of the divine punishment to finally lock onto Yi Wuji's hiding place. So you're here. Shen Huang's eyes narrowed. He immediately threw a punch at the ruins of the Kunlun Golden Palace. The terrifying aurora of his fist shattered everything. It directly blasted a bottomless black hole through the peak of the mountain and crashed into a layer of powerful spatial restriction. Shen Huang, do you want to go through the divine punishment with me? Although his hiding place had been discovered by Shen Huang, Yi Wuji didn't reveal a trace of panic. His low voice rang out. Yi Wuji, do you really think that you can go through this extreme divine punishment in front of me? Shen Huang said coldly. It's not up to you to decide whether I can go through it or not. Yi Wuji laughed and said, Shen Huang, I'll make a bet with you today. Let's see who the heavens side with. Yi Wuji, you will definitely die. Shen Huang's face darkened. He kept attacking Yi Wuji's hiding place. He wanted to break the restriction and affect Yi Wuji's divine punishment. However, under Xiao Liudao's seal, although Shen Huang broke the restriction, he couldn't shake Xiao Liudao, let alone threaten Yi Wuji. At this time, the five-colored clouds that were getting thicker and thicker began to swirl. Countless electric snakes flashed in the clouds. The scene of electric snakes dancing in the sky was quite spectacular. Shen Huang, my extreme divine punishment is about to descend. Do you really want to go through the divine punishment with me? Yi Wuji said arrogantly. So what if we go through the divine punishment together? A mere extreme divine punishment can't threaten me, Shen Huang said fearlessly. He continued to mobilize his supreme power to attack Xiao Liudao. Although Xiao Liudao was protecting Xiao Liudao, and Shen Huang couldn't attack Yi Wuji immediately. Controlling Xiao Liudao's defense also consumed a lot of Yi Wuji's energy. Shen Huang's goal was to prevent Yi Wuji from going through the extreme divine punishment in his best condition. That way, even if Yi Wuji could go through the divine punishment, he would be seriously injured. When Shen Huang mobilized his supreme power to attack Xiao Liudao, the extreme divine punishment finally descended. 18 five-color divine punishments broke through the rapidly swirling clouds. They twisted the entire space and bombarded Yi Wuji, as well as Shen Huang, who had appeared in the area of the divine punishment. Spatial divine would transform into space. Under the attack of the extreme divine punishment, Shen Huang immediately controlled the spatial divine would to transform into space to block the baptism of the extreme divine punishment. Yi Wuji had no choice but to withdraw Xiao Liudao and use his own strength to block the divine punishment. He used the power of the divine punishment to reach the extreme of the virtual god realm. Die! The moment Yi Wuji withdrew Xiao Liudao, Shen Huang immediately attacked him. Yi Wuji had to divert his attention to control Xiao Liudao's defense. At that moment, Yi Chenfeng and the others, who were hiding in Xiao Liudao, saw the scene outside through Xiao Liudao. They instantly broke out in cold sweat for Yi Wuji. The extreme divine punishment of breaking through to the extreme of the virtual god realm was already terrifying enough. It was extremely difficult to go through it. Now, with Shen Huang's interference, Yi Wuji's chances of surviving the divine punishment were greatly reduced. Under such circumstances, even if Yi Wuji passed the extreme divine punishment, he would still be injured. It was also very likely that he would suffer from internal injuries, which would affect his combat strength. Father, let me go out and kill the people of the divine clan. Force Shen Huang to save them and relieve your pressure. Yi Chenfeng clenched his fists and looked at Shen Huang sharply. He transmitted his voice to Yi Wuji through Xiao Liudao. All right, be careful. Facing Shen Huang's interference, Yi Wuji indeed had a headache. He also felt immense pressure. Moreover, he was very confident in Yi Chenfeng's combat ability. With a thought, he sent Yi Chenfeng, who had mostly recovered from his injuries, out. He appeared beside the powerful figures of the divine clan. Wuji, let's go out and kill the people of the divine clan too. Shen Yaodan, the god of life, and the others, who were severely injured, said, No need. I believe that Chenfeng alone is enough. Moreover, I can take care of him. If there are too many people, I'm afraid I won't be able to do it, Yi Wuji replied. With that, Yi Wuji controlled Xiao Lu Dao to block Shen Huang's attack, while using his supreme superpower to block the extreme divine punishment. Chapter 2165. Sensing that Yi Chunfeng had appeared in the outside world, Shen Huang frowned slightly. However, when he realized that Yi Chunfeng was only at the great circle of the empty god realm, he did not take him seriously and attacked Yi Chunfeng with all his might. Yi Chunfeng, how dare you come out? I'll destroy you today. Supreme Shintian's pupils constricted as he locked onto Yi Chunfeng, who had suddenly appeared. The wheel of heaven path broke out of his body and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng with a powerful Dao light. We don't know who will die yet. Chaotic avatar fuse. Primordial blood burn. In an instant, Yi Chunfeng raised his combat strength to the extreme, and his physical strength reached 300 trillion jin. He held the universal sword in his hand and faced the wheel of heaven path. Boom! The two divine weapons collided and created a large amount of sparks. It was like a sky full of divine fire shining in the air. What great strength! Supreme Shintian's brows twitched as he was shocked by Yi Chunfeng's explosive strength. After pushing back the wheel of heaven path with one strike, Yi Chunfeng did not attack Supreme Shintian. Instead, he charged towards the experts of the divine tribe and harvested their lives. Heavenly territory. In an instant, 3 divine tribe experts died under the universal sword. Supreme Shintian immediately opened up a powerful heavenly territory and trapped Yi Chunfeng. Chaos Fist. Facing the attack of the heaven domain, Yi Chunfeng immediately merged with the great Desolate domain, instantly increasing his strength to 500 trillion jin. He shattered the heaven domain with a single punch and continued to crazily reap the lives of the celestial race experts. Spatial black hole. Supreme Shintian did not expect Yi Chunfeng's combat strength to be so strong and immediately used the spatial rules to attack him. The divine tribe experts, who were like frightened birds, retreated at this moment, not daring to get close to Yi Chunfeng. 10,000 swords return. The 3 space-isolating black holes attacked. Yi Chunfeng immediately fused with his sword domain, instantly transforming into tens of thousands of invincible divine swords that pierced through the black holes and continued to chase after the heaven race supreme beings. Painful screams echoed in his ears. Shen Huang, who was attacking Yi Wuji with all his might and exerting pressure on him, frowned slightly. However, he was an emotionless person. The deaths of the celestial race's powerful figures could not affect him at all. He removed all distracting thoughts and controlled the spatial divine wood. While resisting the baptism of the 9-9 extreme divine punishment, he attacked Yi Wuji at the same time. He was determined to make sure that Yi Wuji would not be able to step into the void god realm. What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and kill the human race's almighty. Yi Chunfeng's speed was too fast, and Supreme Shintian was unable to stop him at all. Looking at the Tian clan supreme expert who had died one after another, Supreme Shintian was furious and ordered loudly, "Primitive Dao embryo kill." With a thought, Yi Chunfeng summoned 2 low-level virtual god primitive embryos of Dao. They wielded 2 virtual god weapons and attacked the Sky Tribe almighties. Qian Kuan Realm, keep them. As Yi Chunfeng and the 2 primitive Dao embryos were killing each other, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Qian Kuan realm to keep the human race's alarmed almighties in for protection. Die! Heavenly God's 100 battle soldiers. Seizing the opportunity when Yi Chunfeng took in all the mighty figures of the human race, Supreme Shintian deduced his own Dao will to the extreme. In an instant, thousands of terrifyingly powerful divine weapons of various shapes and sizes appeared. They swept through the sky, fought against the great Dao, and bombarded Yi Chunfeng. Chaos Realm, Sword Realm, merge. Unable to dodge, Yi Chunfeng immediately merged the power of the 2 domains into his body, raising his defense to the maximum. Relying on the Desolate physique, which was comparable to a destinable divine artifact. He took on the attack of the heavenly deity 100-battle soldier head-on. Boom, 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 boom. After withstanding the attacks of the heavenly gods' 100-battle soldiers, Yi Qianfeng was forced to retreat. However, when the heavenly gods' 100-battle soldiers, which could pierce through realms, hit his body, they were unable to injure him. What kind of fortuitous encounter did he have? How did he cultivate his physical body to such an extent? Supreme Shuntian knew the power of the heavenly gods' 100-battle soldiers. Even a peak empty god would not dare to take it head-on. However, Yi Qianfeng had withstood it with his physical body. Wheel of Heaven Wei, kill. Despite his shock, Supreme Shuntian did not slow down his attacks. It was as though he had spat out a mouthful of life-blood into the Wheel of Heaven Wei, activating the most powerful attack of the power of heaven and earth. With the supreme power of Heaven Wei, he attacked Yi Qianfeng. Godless Sword. As the Wheel of Heaven Wei slashed down, Yi Qianfeng's body merged with the universal sword and evolved the unparalleled killing Dao. He struck the Wheel of Heaven and Earth with his sword. In a series of intense collisions, Yi Qianfeng relied on his absolute attack to push the Wheel of Heaven Wei away. He then stabbed at Supreme Shuntian's chest at an extremely fast speed. Sacred Book of Nature. Yi Qianfeng's attack did not decrease in power. Supreme Shuntian's expression changed slightly as he quickly evolved the supreme super skills of the Divine Sky Tribe. He transformed into various attack forms and attacked Yi Qianfeng with all his might, wanting to kill him. Creation Sword Soul, merge. As the power of creation attacked, Yi Qianfeng immediately controlled the Creation Sword Soul and merged it into the Universal Sword, further increasing the attacking power of the Universal Sword. He then displayed the Supreme Sword Principle and fought fiercely with Supreme Shuntian in the void. When the battle between the two reached its climax, the first heavenly punishment of the 9-9 extreme heavenly punishment disappeared. Immediately after, the second heavenly punishment descended, bombarding Yi Wuji and Shen Huang, who was in the heavenly punishment area. Although Shen Huang had broken through to the virtual god realm, he still felt immense pressure when facing the 9-9 extreme divine punishment. However, in order to kill his greatest enemy, he did not retreat. He continuously displayed his supreme power to attack Yi Wuji, trying his best to distract him so that he could not go through the tribulation with all his might. Yi Wuji, don't persist. It's useless. I won't let you go through the 9-9 extreme divine punishment. Looking at Yi Wuji, who was slightly pale and had blood at the corner of his mouth, Shen Huang revealed a ferocious smile. Shen Huang, do you dare to fight with me in the tribulation cloud? Yi Wuji suddenly opened his eyes, which shot out billions of rays of light. He looked at the Supreme Shen Huang and said loudly. After speaking, Yi Wuji summoned Little Six Paths back. He stepped on Little Six Paths and soared into the sky, facing the 9-9 extreme divine punishment. He flew rapidly towards the roaring divine punishment. Seeing that Yi Wuji was charging towards the tribulation cloud at all costs, Shen Huang revealed a ferocious smile, but did not follow, because he knew what it meant to charge into the tribulation cloud. Even with his strength, he did not dare to take the risk. In Yi Wuji's current situation, there was almost no hope of survival. Yi Wuji, let me send you on your way. As he spoke, a long spear appeared in Shen Huang's hand. It was a long spear with countless Dao patterns that formed many ghost faces. It weighed hundreds of billions of kilograms. When this long spear appeared, its aura instantly shattered the chaotic space. It was as if this long spear was sealed with unimaginable power. One stab of the spear was enough to shatter the heavens and earth. God-slaying spear destroy. Shen Huang roared. All the divine power in his body continuously flowed into the god-slaying spear. He stabbed at Yi Wuji, who had entered the tribulation cloud. Kacha kacha. With one stab of the spear, the entire space was split in half. The terrifying light of the spear seemed to be constantly tearing the space apart. It stabbed at Yi Wuji at an extreme speed. Yi Wuji could not dodge the 9-9 extreme divine punishment attack at all. He could only control little six paths to defend with all his might. But the god-slaying spear in Shen Huang's hand was something that he had spent a lot of effort to refine. Its level surpassed that of a divine weapon of creation. With one stab of the spear, even little six paths could not block it. Boom, boom, boom. There was a series of shattering sounds. Little six paths was pierced through by Shen Huang's god-slaying spear. The terrifying remaining power ruthlessly stabbed into Yi Wuji's body, piercing through his body. A large amount of blood spurted out. Chapter 2166. Your Majesty Shen Huang, Yi Wuji is dead for sure. Seeing that Shen Huang had retreated from the extreme 9-9 divine punishment, Supreme Xintian and the rest immediately went up and spoke in awe. It's hard to say. Yi Wuji is tough. The extreme 9-9 divine punishment might not be able to kill him. Shen Huang's expression was aloof as he looked at the five-colored tribulation clouds that constantly shook the heavens. In a low voice, he said, "However, with me here, even if he survives the 9-9 divine punishment, I can still crush him to death." Boom, boom, boom. Chilling explosions rang out continuously, causing the entire sky to tremble violently. In the depths of the five-colored calamity cloud, Yi Wuji's body was almost completely destroyed by the extreme 9-9 divine punishment. However, there was no trace of panic on his face that was filled with cracks. It was as though he had expected all of this. "Mother, will father be okay?" Yi Qinfeng asked anxiously as he looked at Yi Wuji's body that was about to be destroyed through Xiao Lu Dao. "Believe in your father. He should be able to get through this." Although Yi Wuji's situation was not good, and Shen Huang's spear had caused him great damage, Shen Yao Tian was familiar with Yi Wuji. She was familiar with everything about him. Looking at his calm expression, Shen Yao Tian felt that Yi Wuji still had something up his sleeve. Just as everyone looked anxiously at Yi Wuji through Xiao Lu Dao, the terrifying extreme 9-9 divine punishment shattered his body and destroyed it. However, the moment Yi Wuji's body was destroyed, a slowly beating heart appeared before everyone's eyes. Yao Tian, Wuji's heart was obtained from the ancient Star Road. Looking at the undamaged heart that had been attacked by the extreme 9-9 divine punishment, Chasing Sun God immediately guessed the origin of this heart. "Yes, we obtained that heart at the edge of the ruins of God. However, that heart is very strange. Wuji has been refining it for countless years and still hasn't been able to refine it." Shen Yaotian nodded. "If I'm not wrong, that heart should be the heart of an ultimate empty God Almighty." Shen Jiodi's eyes shone brightly as he stared at the slowly beating heart. Limitless wants to borrow the 9-9 extreme divine punishment to refine that heart. That's right. If Wuji can refine that heart, he might be able to use it to enter the extreme empty God realm. The ancestor dragon god nodded. His body was shattered, and his slowly beating heart bore the brunt of most of the attacks of the 9-9 extreme divine punishment. Origin energy fuse. As the 9-9 extreme godly retribution blasted the heart open, massive amounts of essence power surged out of the little six paths and fused into the heart to quickly heal the wounds. Days passed. When the fourth day passed, Shen Huang, who had been guarding outside the extreme 9-9 divine punishment, sensed a terrifying power slowly forming in the violently churning five-colored tribulation clouds. His expression changed slightly. This Yi Wuji is really something. He can even survive under such circumstances. Several thoughts flashed through Shen Huang's mind. In the end, he rejected his original plan and prepared to charge into the five-colored tribulation clouds regardless of the consequences to launch a fatal attack on Yi Wuji. Although this was a dangerous move, as long as he could kill Yi Wuji, Shen Huang believed that no one in the Void God world would be able to compete with him for the position of God. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just as Shen Huang was flying towards the five-colored tribulation cloud, a huge gap suddenly appeared in the chaotic space. A crimson gold sword ray descended from the sky, intertwined with supreme will of the great path, and slashed toward Shen Huang. Shen Huang raised his eyebrows and looked at the sword radiance descending from the sky. His arrogant face revealed a trace of shock, and he threw out an overbearing punch to meet it. Boom! The reddish gold sword radiance shattered under Shen Huang's punch, but the power of the sword radiance shocked Shen Huang. Who is it? Shen Huang's face darkened. He did not expect that there would be someone in the void god world who could threaten him. Shen Huang, long time no see. A man wearing a dark golden robe and a crescent moon crown walked out of the space crack slowly. He looked at Shen Huang and spoke in a deep voice. You are the Ren Huang. Looking at the man in the dark golden robe, Shen Huang frowned slightly. He did not expect the Ren Huang to help Yi Wuji at such a critical moment. That's right, it is me. The Ren Huang nodded. Ren Huang, as far as I know, Yi Wuji and his family destroyed everything you had. Why are you still helping him? Shen Huang said with a gloomy face. You must know that once Yi Wuji reaches the pinnacle of the void god realm, he will become a huge threat to us. It is even possible that he will snatch the opportunity to compete for the position of God from us. Yes, Yi Wuji is very powerful, and he's a big problem for me. But you forgot one important thing. I am also a human being, and the blood of the human race flows in my veins. The human emperor said blandly, I would rather have a god from the human race than a god from an alien race. Haha, Ren Huang. I realize that you are a complete villain. Shen Huang laughed loudly. He did not believe the Ren Huang's explanation at all. You make it sound so dignified, but in fact, you want me and Yi Wuji to both be injured so that you can benefit from it. Believe it or not, as long as I am here, you can't touch Yi Wuji. As he spoke, the sword god, the snow god, and the other powerful puppets of the human race who had died back then appeared around the Ren Huang. They formed a mysterious formation with him and blocked in front of Shen Huang. You can't stop me. As he spoke, Shen Huang lost his patience. He held the god-slaying spear that weighed hundreds of billions of kilograms and attacked the Ren Huang. As Shen Huang attacked, the Ren Huang instantly merged with the power of the formation and drew away the power of the sword god and the others. He interweaved countless sword shadows and used all his strength to block Shen Huang's attack. After clashing with Shen Huang head-on, the Ren Huang deeply experienced just how terrifying Shen Huang was. This also strengthened his resolve to protect Yi Wuji. Only by letting Yi Wuji hold Shen Huang back would he be able to obtain the greatest opportunity from the ancient road of stars. Otherwise, once Yi Wuji died, there would be no one in the void god realm to hold Shen Huang back. Then, the Ren Huang would be in even more danger. Although the Ren Huang's combat power was far inferior to Shen Huang's, with the help of the sword god and the others, as well as the help of the mysterious formation, the Ren Huang could still withstand Shen Huang's fierce attacks for a short period of time. As the Ren Huang resisted Shen Huang's attacks with all his strength, his slowly beating heart completely merged with all the power of the origin. He received the most thorough and fundamental baptism of the ultimate divine punishment. This allowed Yi Wuji to break through the bottleneck of his cultivation level and take that last small step with difficulty. With the power of the divine punishment, reconstruct my body. Taking the most difficult half step, Yi Wuji unleashed all of his power. A surge of blood qi gushed out of his heart and merged with the extreme divine punishment. The power of the divine punishment entered his heart and reshaped his physical body. Yi Wuji's eyes widened. I've broken through. Sensing that Yi Wuji's aura had undergone an earth-shattering change in an instant, Shen Huang's expression changed slightly. He held the god-slaying spear and attacked the Ren Huang with all his strength, wanting to push him back into the tribulation clouds whose power was rapidly diminishing. The pressure grew stronger and stronger, but the Ren Huang did not retreat. He held the Ren Huang, sword in his hand, and defended with all his strength. Seeing that Yi Wuji had refined the power of the divine punishment and reconstructed his divine body, he was about to step into the ultimate void god realm. Shun Huang took the Ren Huang's attack head-on and threw the god-slaying spear with all his might, piercing toward Yi Wuji in the tribulation clouds. Oh no! Yi Wuji, who had just reconstructed his physical body, changed his expression slightly. Instinctively, he wanted to dodge. However, the supreme power that shot out from the god-slaying spear sealed the space, making it impossible for Yi Wuji to dodge. The god-slaying spear pierced through his body. It's useless. You can't stop me from stepping into the ultimate void god realm. Yi Wuji's body was pierced through, but his aura did not diminish. He madly merged with the power of the divine punishment and reconstructed the wound in his body, forcing the god-slaying spear back. As he completely reconstructed his body, his heart, which he had not been able to refine for a long time, also completely merged with his body. Chapter 2167. Yi Wuji, I'll leave the rest to you. I'm leaving. Looking at Yi Wuji, who had reached the extreme, empty god realm, Ren Huang, who was bleeding from the corner of his mouth, tore open the space and left quickly with Sword God and the rest. Ren Huang. Although Ren Huang had saved him at the critical moment, Yi Wuji knew that Ren Huang had his own selfish motives. Regardless, without Ren Huang, he would never have reached the extreme, empty god realm. Yi Wuji, I've underestimated you. However, it's useless even if you reach the extreme, empty god realm. I'll let you know how big the gap is between us. Shen Huang said with killing intent as he held the god-slaying spear and looked at Yi Wuji. He was going to kill Yi Wuji while he was still weak after breaking through. You couldn't kill me just now. You can't kill me now. Yi Wuji said fearlessly. Little 6 Daos appeared in his body and released the 6 Daos origin energy. Dying. Shen Huang's pupils constricted. Rolling energy gushed out of his body and turned into an endless ocean. He thrust his spear forward like a divine dragon, invincible. Facing Shen Huang's peerless spear, Yi Wuji immediately controlled little 6 Daos and merged it into his right fist. He charged forward quickly and punched the tip of the god-slaying spear. Crack, crack, crack. Endless sparks shot out from the tip of the god-slaying spear. Although the god-slaying spear was powerful, it couldn't pierce through Yi Wuji's fist. However, the entire space couldn't withstand their attacks and shattered instantly. After that, they changed their moves and continued to attack each other. The two of them were at the top of the ethereal god artifacts. The destructive power of their attacks was terrifying. Wherever they went, the space shattered and the ground collapsed. Mountains and rivers were flattened. Spatial divine would merge. The two of them fought fiercely for more than 2 hours. Shen Huang merged with the spatial divine wood and guided the power of space into his body. He used the power of space to increase his combat strength and suppress Yi Wuji's attacks. Wuji, why don't we use the primordial god-slaying formation to fight him? Although the primordial god-slaying formation was broken, Shun Yaotian and the rest could use their bodies to form the formation in a short time. With Yi Wuji's current strength, he could control the core of the primordial god-slaying formation and deal a fatal blow to Shen Huang. All right, having just broken through, Yi Wuji was not willing to fight Shen Huang head-on. With a thought, he summoned Shin Yaotian and the others, as well as the severely damaged primordial god destroyer formation. Then, Yi Wuji replaced Yi Chunfeng and took charge of the core of the primordial god-destroying array. Shen Yaotian, Tai Yi, primordial dragon god, and the other peak void god realm masters appeared at the broken base of the array and forcibly activated the primordial god-destroying array. Boom! The primordial god-slaying matrix was activated. Everyone's divine power fused together in an instant, transforming into a giant god-slaying hand that covered a corner of heaven and earth. It pressed down on Shen Huang, blocking Shen Huang's fatal attack. Supreme Shintian, I will kill you today. Yi Chenfeng, who had just been released, narrowed his eyes and locked onto Tai Shintian, who was hiding in the distance with a gloomy expression. He wielded the myriad origin sword and charged over once again, engaging in a fierce battle with him. The fierce battle became more and more intense. Yi Wuji controlled the primordial god-destroying array and gradually turned the tables. However, Shen Huang did not retreat. He attacked with all his might with the god-reverting fist, determined to kill Yi Wuji and eliminate his biggest threat. Meanwhile, the battle between Yi Chunfeng and Supreme Shintian was equally fierce. Facing Yi Chunfeng's fierce attacks, Supreme Shintian continuously displayed one terrifying trump card after another to fight him head-on. Primordial God-destroying array. Power of the ancients. After fighting fiercely for about a day, Yi Wuji seized the opportunity when Shen Huang was pushed back and forcibly reversed the primordial God-destroying array, forming the power of the ancients that traversed the universe and ruthlessly bombarded Shen Huang. Boom, boom, boom. A series of intense explosions rang out. Shen Huang's spear, which had become one with his weapon, was destroyed by the power of the ancients that burst forth from the primordial God-destroying array. The terrifying power of the ancients ruthlessly bombarded Shen Huang's body, forcing him to retreat step by step. A trickle of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His Majesty Shen Huang is injured. Heavens, could it be that this world is destined to belong to the human race? No, His Majesty Shen Huang is invincible. He will definitely lead our divine race to stand at the peak of the Void God realm and unify the entire universe. The people of the divine race who were hiding in the distance immediately revealed deep worry when they saw that Shen Huang was actually injured by the primordial God-destroying array. This was because once Shen Huang was defeated, no one in the Void God realm would be able to stop Yi Wuji. The human race would also suppress the divine race and become the #1 race in the Void God realm. With Shen Huang injured, Yi Chenfeng continuously used supreme divine abilities to suppress Supreme Shintian, forcing him to retreat step by step. Primordial Chaos Fist. When Yi Chenfeng forced Supreme Shantian to the peak of a towering mountain, he instantly merged with the primordial chaos domain and forcefully raised his strength to 500 trillion kilograms. He blasted out a punch filled with the power of the primordial chaos, shattering Supreme Shintian's defense as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. He ruthlessly bombarded his body, sending him flying and crashing into the towering mountain peak behind him. Supreme Shintian clan leader has also been defeated. Heavens, could it be that the heavens want to destroy our divine race? Seeing Supreme Shantian being sent flying by Yi Chenfeng's punch, the hearts of the divine race's almighties fell to the bottom of the valley. Some even revealed looks of despair. Supreme Shintian, your momentum is gone. Obediently accept your death. Yi Chenfeng did not give Supreme Shantian a chance to catch his breath. With the universal origin sword in hand, he deduced the sword Dao to the extreme and evolved the supreme sword might. He fiercely attacked Supreme Shintian, continuously worsening his injuries. Qi, the universal origin sword merged with the creation sword spirit and cut off Supreme Shintian's arm. A large amount of blood spurted out like a fountain. Your Majesty, I'm seriously injured. After his arm was cut off by Yi Chenfeng, Supreme Shintian's battle strength plummeted. He had no choice but to send a voice transmission to Shen Huang. Trash, quickly leave this place and return to the divine race to wait for me. Shen Huang cursed loudly, causing Supreme Shintian and the others, who had lost their left arm, to quickly retreat like birds startled by the twang of a bow. Meanwhile, he continued to launch supreme attacks and fiercely attacked the ancient god-destroyer formation controlled by Yi Wuji. However, when Supreme Shintian and the others retreated, Yi Chenfeng used his supreme sword Dao and crazily harvested, killing dozens of divine race almighties and causing fatal damage to the divine race. Supreme Shintian and the others escaped without a trace. Yi Chenfeng did not continue to pursue them. Instead, he turned back and summoned a large number of extremely powerful self-exploding pearls from the universe mirror and threw them at Shen Huang. Although the self-exploding pearls could not harm Shen Huang, they could affect him to a certain extent and distract him. Little bastard, you're courting death. After being continuously attacked by the self-exploding pearls, Shen Huang was enraged and immediately diverted his attention to attack Yi Chenfeng. However, Yi Chenfeng was alert enough to dodge. Taking advantage of Shen Huang's distraction, Yi Wuji once again twisted the ancient god destroyer formation, forming an ancient power that pierced through the void and ruthlessly bombarded Shen Huang's body. It shattered his body's defenses and further aggravated his injuries. Just as the battle became more and more intense, and Yi Wuji and Shen Huang used all their trump cards and fought fiercely, the entire Void God world suddenly became day and night. In the pitch-black sky, a crimson stream that seemed to be formed by countless stars vaguely appeared. Looking at the stream that seemed to traverse through time, Shen Huang and Yi Wuji instinctively stopped their attacks and looked over. Their faces were filled with shock. The ancient Star Road has appeared. Looking at the crimson starry sky that appeared at the top of the Void God world, Shen Huang and Yi Wuji knew that the ancient Star Road had appeared. Yi Wuji, when I become the ruler of this world, I will definitely destroy you first. Chapter 2168. Poof! After Shen Huang left, Yi Wuji took away the severely damaged primordial god destroyer array. Before Shen Yaotian, the god of life, and the others could celebrate and congratulate him on breaking through to the ultimate empty god realm, a large amount of blood spurted out from Yi Wuji's mouth. His entire face turned pale without a trace of blood. His body swayed as Shen Yaotian held him in her arms. "Wuji, are you all right?" Shen Yaotian hugged Yi Wuji tightly and asked anxiously. "Let's go back to the little 6 paths to talk." Yi Wuji moved his mind and kept everyone in the little 6 paths. "Wuji, did Shen Huang's spear leave you with an unmentionable injury at the last moment of your heavenly tribulation?" Shinjuti, who had sharp eyes, asked softly. "Yes, Shen Huang's spear hurt my cultivation foundation and left me with an unmentionable injury when I reconstructed my divine body, causing my divine body to be incomplete." Yi Wuji nodded and said, "Sigh, if I can't repair my divine body, even if I get the chance to become a god, I will fail. Father, I have a ball of god spirits here. Perhaps it can repair your divine body." Yi Chenfeng said telepathically. "No, that's your opportunity. It belongs to you. I don't want it." Yi Wuji shook his head and said, "Don't worry, Chenfeng. If there's really a chance to become a god, I hope you can do it too. Plus, there are many opportunities in the ruins of God. I believe I can find a great opportunity to repair my divine body." Yi Wuji took a deep breath and said resolutely, "All right, the ancient Star Road has appeared. Let's get ready and wait for the exit of the ancient Star Road to descend into this world. This time, we must seize the opportunity to become gods." Although the battle between Yi Chenfeng and Shen Huang had shocked the world, its impact was far less than the ancient Road of Stars. When the ancient Road of Stars appeared in the Void God world, rumors spread everywhere. Some people even announced that there was an opportunity to become a god on the ancient Road of Stars. Becoming a god was the dream of all cultivators. Hearing that there was an opportunity to become a god on the ancient Road of Stars, the entire Void God world was in an uproar. Many old monsters that had hidden themselves from the world came out to find the location of the ancient Road of Stars. As for Yi Chenfeng and the others, who were in the ruins of the Kunlun Holy Land, they had been in seclusion the entire time, healing the injuries they had sustained from the battle with Shen Huang and the others. "I wonder if this Nature Divine pill can help me break through to the peak Void God realm." Although Yi Chenfeng's current battle prowess was not bad, his enemy's strength was too terrifying. Moreover, the Void God realm was too big, and there were many hidden old monsters. Among those old monsters, there was no lack of almighty experts at the peak of the Void God realm. Therefore, if Yi Chenfeng wanted to seize this unprecedented opportunity, he would need to further increase his battle prowess. Boom! After taking the nature pill, Yi Chenfeng immediately felt a majestic medicinal power erupting in his body. The strength of the medicinal power surpassed any other pill he had taken before. Chaos Dharma form, suppress. Yi Chen-feng took a deep breath and let the Chaos Dharma form suppress the explosive medicinal power of the Nature Divine pill. He controlled the Chaos Dharma form to quickly absorb and refine the medicinal power of the Nature Divine pill. Try his best to break through to the peak Void God realm. As Yi Chen-feng had merged all the elixir toxins in his body into the heaven-plucking body, the effect of absorbing the Nature Divine pill was perfect. His strength increased rapidly. A day in the outside world was 100 days in the core of the six paths. In the 100 times faster time flow, the Chaos Dharma form crazily absorbed the medicinal power of the Nature Divine pill. However, Yi Chen-feng had broken through to the great circle of the Void God realm for a short period of time. His foundation was far from Shun Yaotian, chasing Sun God, and the others. He encountered a lot of trouble when breaking through to the peak Void God realm. After spending close to 30 years, he had completely refined the Nature Divine pill and cultivated to the great circle of the Void God realm. He was one step away from the peak Void God realm. After breaking through to the peak Void God realm, Yi Chen-feng consumed a few Chaos Divine fruits. He wanted to use the powerful chaotic energy to cross the last small step. However, it was too difficult to break through to the peak Void God realm. Yi Chen-feng had refined a few Chaos Divine fruits, but he was still unable to cross the last small step. He was stuck at the great circle of the Void God realm. Just as Yi Chen-feng was patiently trying to break through to the peak Void God realm, he received a message from Yi Wuji. The entrance to the ancient road of stars had appeared at the highest peak of the demonic world, the demonic sky peak. Let's go. Let's go to the demonic sky peak. Yi Wuji summoned a huge divine boat and drove the group to the demonic sky peak. At the same time, after knowing the location of the entrance to the ancient road of stars, the various races and forces also rushed to the demonic sky peak. In an instant, the severely damaged demonic world became lively. Look, that's the entrance to the ancient road of stars. The various almighties who had rushed to the demonic sky peak earlier were excited when they saw the entrance to the ancient road of stars slowly opening. Swoosh! An ear-piercing sound of something breaking through the air rang out. A peak Void God realm almighty suddenly leaped into the air and flew toward the entrance of the ancient road of stars at an extremely fast speed. His action immediately attracted the attention of everyone at the demonic sky peak. Chaos Sacred Axe fuse. As he approached the entrance of the ancient road of stars, the peak Void God realm almighty instantly fused with a giant axe that was filled with chaos power. He slashed at the slowly opening entrance of the ancient road of stars, wanting to be the first to enter the ancient road of stars and fight for the peerless opportunity inside. He had used all his trump cards and burned his powerful bloodline. His attack was extremely powerful, but when he slashed at the entrance of the ancient road of stars, he suffered a backlash from the ancient road of stars. The mountain-like axe shadow was instantly shattered. An unimaginable force bombarded his body, shattering his physical body and crushing his soul, killing him on the spot. Humph, you overestimate yourself. Can't you see that so many almighties dare not act rashly? A mere peak ancestor realm almighty wants to barge into the ancient road of stars. You must be tired of living. Looking at the blood shadow that had exploded in the void, the almighties of demonic sky did not show any pity. Instead, they mocked him for overestimating himself. Just as everyone was waiting patiently at the demonic sky peak for the ancient road of stars to completely open and for the space to stabilize, a terrifying aura appeared. An old man in a linen robe appeared at the demonic sky peak. His long beard almost reached the ground. His body was slightly bloated and his face was filled with wrinkles. He was holding a dragon-headed walking stick and had a towering demonic chi. Mo-gu, the ancestor of the ancient demon tribe. He is still alive? Heavens, didn't they say that he died a long time ago? Back then, Mo-gu and Yamagod were known as the twin gods of the demon tribe. I wonder what realm Mo-gu's strength has reached after so many years. Looking at the old man who had suddenly appeared and shocked everyone present. Everyone present was shocked as they transmitted their thoughts to him. Emogu, long time no see. As soon as Emogu appeared, a loud voice resounded. A stone that shone with 5-color divine light fell from the sky and landed at the demonic sky peak. The moment he fell, the huge impact caused the entire devil sky peak to tremble violently. Cracks extended across the mountain peak. Stone ancestor. Looking at the stone that was slowly turning into a human form, Emogu recognized that it was the stone ancestor, the ancestor of the stone tribe. He was a big shot that rarely appeared in the void god world. With the appearance of the ancient road of stars, I'm afraid that those old fellows who have 1 foot in the Yellow Springs will appear and fight for the opportunity to become a god. Emogu said in a hoarse voice as he held the dragon-headed walking stick and looked at the stone ancestor who was emitting a terrifying pressure. No, I'm different from you. I just want to find the opportunity to step into the void god realm on the ancient road of stars so that I can live for another lifetime. Stone ancestor shook his head. Stone ancestor, you are just an emotionless stone. What's the point of living for so long? Suddenly, a loud and domineering voice resounded. White tiger demon god. Looking at the huge white tiger that had suddenly appeared in the sky, Stone ancestor recognized that it was the white tiger demon god who had been chased by the primordial dragon god for countless years. In the end, he had faked his death and lived in seclusion. This time, the white tiger demon god's realm had reached a terrifying level. Although he had not stepped into the peak of the void god realm, he was only half a step away from the final breakthrough. Sigh, even a stone wants to live forever. Although Stone Ancestor did not have the heart to fight for the god realm, he wanted to live forever. As time passed, big shots that rarely appeared at the demonic sky peak continued to appear. Among them, there were many almighties who had already died, shocking everyone. Chapter 2169. Tian Xian, he is still alive. Wasn't he killed by Supreme Shintian? It seems like we know too little about the void god world. Many people were not killed. Instead, they went into hiding. Sigh, so many void gods have appeared. The chances of us obtaining a great opportunity from the ancient road of stars are very slim. Many ambitious ancestor realm experts felt their hearts fall to the bottom when they saw these old monsters appear one after another. There were even some who had thoughts of retreating. Tian Xian, you are a traitor of the Sky Tribe. How dare you come here? Aren't you afraid that Shun Huang will come and kill you? Mo Gu said in an unfriendly tone as he looked at Tian Xian, who was surrounded by the great path of heaven and earth, and whose aura was stronger than his. Humph, someone will take care of him. Although Tian Xian was from the Sky Tribe, he did not have a good relationship with them. He was even hostile to Shun Huang. Hence, he snorted and said fearlessly, "Buzz, buzz, buzz." Not long after Tian Xian arrived, the deafening sound of a sword rang out in the void. A blinding golden light illuminated the land and landed at the top of demonic sky. Human sovereign. Almost everyone's attention was attracted to the human sovereign, who was wearing a long golden robe and a crescent moon crown. He was tall and straight and emanated a strong sword intent. As a rare genius of the Sky Tribe, Tian Xian rarely admired anyone. However, when he saw the human sovereign, he felt a strong sense of danger. The human sovereign arrived and glanced at Tian Xian, Mo Gu, and the others. He then sat down cross-legged and adjusted his breathing in silence, waiting for the ancient road of stars to open. After another day or so, 9 gigantic black cheilants appeared outside the Devil Sky Peak. They stepped on the void and pulled an ancient war chariot over. Beside the ancient war chariot, there were more than 10 Tian clan Nihility God realm experts. The clan leader of the Divine Sky Tribe, Supreme Shintian, who was once known as the top person in the void god world, was among them. Shun Huang is here. Looking at the ancient war chariot and Supreme Shintian, who was guarding it respectfully, the Almighties in demonic sky knew that the true overlord of the void god world, Shun Huang, had arrived. Brother Shun Huang, long time no see. Mo Gu, Stone Ancestor, and Shun Huang were old acquaintances. When they saw Shan Huang arrive, they all went up to greet him. On the other hand, Tian Xian's face revealed a trace of indifference. He slowly closed his eyes and sat down cross-legged, ignoring Shen Huang and the others. Tian Xian, you're here too. Shen Huang's voice rang out from the ancient war chariot. I will now give you a chance to turn over a new leaf. If you're willing to submit to me, you will be the leader of the Imperial Sky Clan from now on. And if I don't want to? Tian Xian opened his eyes and said in an unruly manner, then I can only send you to hell. Shen Huang said coldly, when you become a god, I will naturally submit to you. You don't have that right now. Tian Xian said fearlessly, completely unafraid of Shen Huang's threat. Tian Xian, you really think you're all grown up now? Shen Huang said domineeringly, if I want to kill you, you won't last more than 3 breaths. Really? Then let's try and see how long I can live. Tian Xian summoned a dragon-headed spear and stood on the ground like a fearless god of war. Shen Huang, I realize that you're really a failure. Even your own clan doesn't accept you. How could someone like you be worthy of fighting for the position of god? Ren Huang glanced at Tian Xian, stood up slowly, and said loudly, you're courting death. As soon as Ren Huang finished speaking, an unparalleled power surged out from the ancient war chariot and instantly condensed into an invincible giant hand. It was like a divine mountain that pressed down on Ren Huang. As the invincible hand pressed down, Ren Huang's body emitted an ear-piercing sound of a sword. A crescent-shaped sword ray broke out of his body and slashed the invincible hand. Boom, boom, boom. The two powerful forces collided violently in mid-air, creating an earth-shattering sound that shook the entire firmament violently. Many of the Almighties in the Ancestor Realm felt their legs go weak, and they had difficulty breathing. They almost collapsed on the ground. After 3 breaths, the crescent-shaped sword ray formed by Ren Huang shattered. At this moment, Ren Huang's pupils constricted. 3 more crescent-shaped sword rays broke out of his body and slashed the invincible hand consecutively, breaking Shen Huang's attack. Shen Huang, if you want to fight to the death with me here, I'll do my best to keep you company. Ren Huang looked at the ancient war chariot and said with a high fighting spirit, count me in. Tian Xian held the dragon-headed spear in his hand and was extremely domineering. When Ren Huang, Tian Xian, and Shen Huang were facing off, the chaotic void suddenly cracked. A giant foot that seemed to be able to trample through the 9 hells descended from the sky and ruthlessly stepped on the ancient war chariot that Shen Huang was riding. Although the war chariot had been strengthened by Shen Huang and was impregnable, it couldn't withstand the attack of the giant foot. The war chariot shattered immediately, and the 9 brave black Qilins were so frightened that they prostrated themselves on the ground and wailed. Yi Wuji. Seeing Yi Wuji walk out of the spatial crack, Shen Huang's killing intent erupted like a volcano. Shen Huang, if the 3 of us join forces, what do you think your chances of winning are? Looking at the enraged Shen Huang, Yi Wuji revealed a faint smile and dispelled the aura that Shen Huang had released. All right, I'll let you live for a few more days. When I become a god, I'll definitely destroy you all. Yi Wuji alone was enough to give Shen Huang a headache, and Ren Huang and Tian Xian were quite strong. Before entering the ancient path of stars, Shen Huang really didn't want to fight to the death with them. He snorted coldly and brought Supreme Shintian and the rest to the other side of the demonic sky, peaked to wait for the ancient path of stars to open. Ren Huang, no matter what your intentions are, I have to thank you. Thank you for stopping Shen Huang at the critical moment and allowing me to break through to the peak of the virtual god realm. Yi Wuji said lightly as he cast his gaze at the shrewd Ren Huang after Shen Huang left. Helping you is also helping myself. Ren Huang met Yi Wuji's eyes and said after thinking for a while. After about 4 days, the demonic sky peak was packed with people. The ancient path of stars became clearer and clearer, and terrifying energy suppressed the entire sky. Suddenly, a huge space gate appeared in the chaotic void, and the entire space stabilized. When the space gate appeared, Shen Huang, Ren Huang, Imo, Gu, and the rest didn't hesitate. They all flew toward the space gate and fought to enter the ancient path of stars. Soon, fewer and fewer people were at the demonic sky peak. The ancient path of stars will open for 10 years. It's very dangerous during this time. Moreover, when we enter the space gate, we'll be sent to a random location. Therefore, I suggest that those who are above the late stage of the virtual god realm enter the ancient path of stars. The rest stay outside to prevent accidents. Originally, Yi Wuji wanted to bring everyone into the ancient path of stars, but he didn't expect so many hidden almighties to appear. To be safe, he changed his mind. All right, Yu Nikhang, Yu Yiming, and the rest also knew that the chances of them obtaining an opportunity on the ancient path of stars weren't high, so they listened to Yi Wuji's suggestion. Xingfeng, Dad, you must take good care of yourself. You must come out alive. We'll wait for you at the foot of the mountain. Yu Nikhang, Xiao Wendy, Yu Yiming, and the rest said reluctantly, Don't worry, I'll definitely return safely. Yi Chenfeng hugged Yu Nikhang and the rest tightly and promised them in a firm tone. He also left the 2 primitive embryos of Tao and 9 nether to them. Let's go. We'll enter the ancient path of stars. Remember, once we enter the ancient path of stars, don't waste any time. Fight for the space gate as soon as possible and be sent to the depths of the ancient path of stars. The true opportunity on the ancient path of stars is in the ruins of God. Chapter 2170. The Starry Sky, the Endless Starry Sky. After entering the ancient road of stars, Yi Chunfeng discovered that he had appeared in a vast and boundless star domain. Within this star domain, there were fragmented star continents, broken stars, broken mountains, and ruined palaces that drifted with the waves. Find the teleportation array. According to Yi Wuji, the ancient Starry Sky Road had no end. If one wanted to enter the depths of the ancient Starry Sky Road, they would have to find the teleportation array. Otherwise, flying alone would take them 10 years to reach the depths of the ancient Starry Sky Road, let alone enter the ruins of God. So, Yi Chenfeng's body flashed as he quickly flew towards a broken starland in the distance. He wanted to find the teleportation array in the starry sky. That's Overlord Ginseng, Bloodling Ji. Flying into the broken starland, Yi Chunfeng found many rare spiritual items, many of which are the main ingredients for refining the hollow spirit pill. However, Yi Chunfeng didn't waste time on these spiritual items. He released his powerful soul force to cover the surroundings, looking for the teleportation array. Someone's here. As he flew, Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul force sensed a life aura in front of him. This life aura was fighting with an extremely terrifying existence. The power of teleportation. Yi Chunfeng didn't want to pay attention to it, but the God-Eater brain, which was rapidly deducing, sensed the power of teleportation near this life aura. It's so easy to find the teleportation array. Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows, revealing a surprised expression. His body flashed as he flew over at an extremely fast speed. At this time, a charming woman wearing a pink martial arts suit with a graceful figure and beads of sweat on her forehead was waving a sharp crescent blade. She was fighting with a man wearing black armor and holding a long spear in the depths of the starland. Not far from them, there was a pile of rubble. From the rubble, Yi Chunfeng could vaguely feel the power of teleportation. Ayo! Sensing Yi Chunfeng approaching the rubble, the armored man, fiercely fighting with the woman, roared and suddenly turned around, thrusting his long spear at Yi Chunfeng. You're courting death. Suddenly attacked by the armored man, Yi Chunfeng's eyes shot out a sharp light. He stretched out a finger and pointed. Ka. Although the space in the ancient road of the starry heavens was incomparably tough, far surpassing that of the faux god world, Yi Chunfeng's finger light still caused ripples to appear in the space. The sharp finger light ruthlessly struck the tip of the spear, directly shattering it and sending the armored man flying. Ayo! Even though his body was injured, the armored man did not fear death and continued to charge at Yi Chunfeng. His valiant aura was intimidating. Yi Chunfeng's attack. Yi Chunfeng's and the heavens and the earth's Tao, and ruthlessly pressed down on the armored man's body. The armored man's body, and man couldn't move. Land. What a defense. Yi Chunfeng was surprised when he realized that the armored man's body didn't shatter after being suppressed by his palm. With his current strength, he could shatter a void god artifact with a single palm, let alone the armored man who was only at the peak of the ancestor realm. Thank you, young master, for saving me. Qing, I can't thank you enough. Seeing the armored man being suppressed by Yi Chunfeng with a single palm strike, the charming woman's eyes lit up. She gently brushed the black hair in front of her as she spoke in a flirtatious voice. And, although the woman was charming and seductive, and her every movement carried a hint of charm, Yi Chunfeng was not interested in her at all. He nodded his head symbolically and flew to the pile of rocks enveloped by the restriction. As expected, there is a teleportation array sealed here. After breaking through the restriction in the pile of rocks, Yi Chunfeng discovered a teleportation formation that wasn't very large. At this time, the charming woman followed him. When she saw the teleportation array, her charming eyes revealed a look of surprise. She gently bit her lips and said, "Young master, I found this teleportation array first. Can you give it to me?" "Give it to you?" Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly and said, "It's not that I can't give it to you, but what benefits can you give me? If young master is willing, I'm willing to serve young master once." The charming woman's eyes revealed a seductive look as she said sweetly, "Not interested." Yi Chunfeng ignored the charming woman and shook his head. "If you're willing to give me this hairpin, I can consider giving this teleportation array to you. Forget it if you're unwilling." With that, Yi Chunfeng walked towards the teleportation array. "Okay, I promise you." The temptation of the teleportation array was too great. The charming woman gritted her teeth, took off the hairpin on her head, and gave it to Yi Chunfeng. "Okay, this teleportation array is yours. I wish you good luck." Yi Chunfeng put the pearl hair clip on his body, and without any hesitation, he flew away at an extremely fast speed. Just you wait. It's not that easy to blackmail this lady's things. The hairpin on the charming woman's head was an extremely high-level concealment treasure. When it was put on the body, it could conceal all auras. Even a peak empty god would not be able to detect it. However, in order to enter the depths of the ancient Star Road, she could only reluctantly give it up. She resentfully looked at the back of Yi Chunfeng, who had ignored her beauty. She put a large number of teleportation stones into the teleportation array, activated it, and disappeared from the Starland. However, the level of this teleportation array was not high. She only teleported for an hour before she fell out of the teleportation array. This made her even angrier. By now, Yi Chunfeng had already reached the depths of this broken star continent. Along the way, he discovered several starry sky transportation arrays. However, the God-Eater brain's senses told him that these starry sky transportation arrays weren't of a high grade. Thus, Yi Chunfeng didn't waste too much time and continued searching the broken star continent. Finally, he found a dilapidated temple in the dilapidated Starland, and an incomparably huge starry sky teleportation array was sealed within the dilapidated temple. "I finally found the biggest teleportation array in the Starland." Yi Chunfeng was overjoyed when he felt a strong teleportation force in the temple. He flew over quickly. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The moment he flew into the dilapidated temple, the statues outside the temple came to life. They burst out with monstrous divine power and attacked him with divine weapons. "Chaotic territory, break for me." When the 6 great deity statues attacked, Yi Chunfeng immediately activated his Desolate domain, enveloping it and suppressing it. As Yi Chunfeng's strength increased, the power of his chaotic territory increased. Yi Chunfeng pushed his chaotic territory to the extreme. The strength of the chaotic territory exceeded 300 trillion jin and broke the 6 statues like breaking rotten wood. This is when the 6 statues were broken. Yi Chunfeng found 6 six-colored glowing pearls. These pearls contained divine power that far surpassed the 5-colored divine stones. Whoosh! Yi Chunfeng opened his mouth and swallowed the 6 pearls into his stomach. Immediately, a large amount of pure divine power exploded in his body and merged with the desolate body, rapidly increasing his strength. The bottleneck that he had been struggling to break through to the next cultivation level loosened slightly. The ancient Starland Road lives up to its name. The opportunities here are unimaginable. Yi Chunfeng felt that if he could obtain more 6-colored glowing pearls, he might be able to borrow the pure divine power contained in the 6-colored glowing pearls to break through to the peak of the Void God realm. What a mystical Tao pattern! After walking into the dilapidated temple, Yi Chunfeng realized that there were ancient Tao patterns carved on the temple walls. If he could comprehend these Tao patterns, it would greatly increase his attainment in Tao meaning. Chapter 2171. That's a forest. Walking out of the teleportation array, Yi Chunfeng saw a huge forest floating under the starry sky. His body flashed, and he flew over with extreme speed. Such tall, ancient trees. After flying into the dilapidated forest, Yi Chunfeng realized that the ancient trees here were several hundred zhang tall. It would take dozens of people to wrap their arms around each tree. There were many terrifying demonic beasts residing in the forest. Many of them had already gone extinct in the Void God world. It was impossible to see them again. However, Yi Chunfeng's aura was too terrifying. These demonic beasts didn't dare to attack him. Yi Chunfeng stepped on the thick branches and soon arrived at the depths of the forest. As he walked, Yi Chunfeng frowned slightly. He looked at the king of ancient trees, and the corner of his mouth rose slightly, revealing a cold smile. Swish! When Yi Chunfeng got close to this king of ancient trees that was several hundred zhang tall and covered the sky with luxuriant leaves, an ear-piercing sound rang out. A man shrouded in a black robe, whose face couldn't be seen clearly, was holding an extremely sharp longsword. He was stabbing towards Yi Chunfeng with extreme speed. Although the black-robed man's attack was very sudden, Yi Chunfeng, who had the God-Eater brain, had already detected his presence. With the God-Eater brain's deduction, Yi Chunfeng easily captured the trajectory of his attack. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng's throat was about to be pierced, Yi Chunfeng quickly extended 2 fingers and clamped down on the tip of the sword, breaking his sure-kill attack. What? The black-robed man didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to react so quickly. He actually clamped down on the tip of the sword with 2 fingers and decisively changed his move. He opened up a powerful domain and amplified the attack power of his sword. He wanted to push away Yi Chunfeng's fingers and pierce his throat. However, Yi Chunfeng's strength far surpassed his. Even after the black-robed man merged with his domain power, he still couldn't push away Yi Chunfeng's fingers. With a kacha sound, Yi Chunfeng exerted a slight force with his 2 fingers and shattered the pseudo-Void God artifact in the man's hand. The pseudo-Void God artifact was crushed by Yi Chunfeng's fingers. The black-robed man's heart was in turmoil. Without any hesitation, he entered the spatial trajectory and tried to escape. Escape? Do you think you can escape? Yi Chunfeng's pupils constricted. His right hand shot out like lightning and grabbed the black-robed man's shoulder. A huge force pressed the black-robed man down from the air. More than half of his body sank into the hard ground. No, don't kill me. If you spare my life, I'm willing to tell you a big secret. The black-robed man didn't expect Yi Chunfeng's strength to be so terrifying. He had no choice but to throw out a huge temptation, begging Yi Chunfeng to spare his life. Not interested, Yi Chunfeng said coldly. His right hand shot out a huge amount of divine force and bombarded the black-robed man's body. It shattered the black-robed man's body and soul, killing him on the spot. After killing the black-robed man, Yi Chunfeng kept the black-robed man's belongings and continued to fly towards the ancient forest. He was looking for opportunities in the space teleportation formation. A formation. As Yi Chunfeng flew, he suddenly realized that there was a huge amount of illusory force in the air. It kept confusing his soul and causing him to lose his sense of direction. Creation sword soul break. Yi Chunfeng's pupils constricted. With the help of the God-Eater brain, he locked onto a huge, ancient tree and controlled the creation sword soul to slash at it. Boom! After receiving the attack from the creation sword soul, the huge, ancient tree shattered. The illusory force that was disturbing Yi Chunfeng also disappeared. That is, when the illusory force disappeared, Yi Chunfeng saw a 3-meter-tall, blood-red flower with a flower bud the size of a water tank in the distance. When Yi Chunfeng got close to the flower, it suddenly bloomed and released a refreshing fragrance that entered Yi Chunfeng's nose. It smells so good. Smelling the dense fragrance of the flowers, Yi Chunfeng suddenly felt dizzy. The dense fragrance of the flowers created a large number of illusions in his soul sea, confusing his soul. Sensing danger, Yi Chunfeng immediately held his breath and dispelled the influence of the illusions. At this moment, sharp teeth suddenly appeared on the blooming flower and bit at Yi Chunfeng, trying to swallow him. However, after cultivating to the sacred body realm, the primitive body was comparable to a creation artifact. The flower's sharp teeth couldn't bite Yi Chunfeng's body at all. Sword realm break. Withstanding the great tearing force of the strange flower, Yi Chunfeng opened his sword domain and directly cut off the strange flower's body. He cut off the blood-red flower and destroyed its intelligence. The ancient road of the starry sky is indeed dangerous. Yi Chunfeng didn't expect that he would still encounter danger despite being so careful. Fortunately, his primitive body was strong enough to save him from danger. Chaos Dharma Idol Devour. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng summoned his primal Chaos Dharma Idol and swallowed the strange blood-red flower. Then, he continued walking towards the ancient forest. At the same time, fierce battles were happening in every corner of the ancient road of the starry sky. Some people obtained great opportunities on the ancient road of the starry sky and broke through to the next realm with the help of the origin. Some people also lost their lives on the ancient road of the starry sky. Yi Wuji, Shun Huang, Run Huang, and the others who had entered the ancient road of the starry sky didn't waste any time on the ancient road of the starry sky. They constantly searched for powerful teleportation formations in the broken time. They all wanted to enter the ruins of God as soon as possible and find the opportunity to become gods. Yes, it's dangerous. When Yi Chunfeng flew to the deepest part of the ancient forest, he found an ancient tree that was almost 10,000 feet tall. Its body was wrapped with dragon-like vines, and its leaves were of different shapes and sizes. They were like colored glass and covered the sky. When he saw this ancient tree, he felt a deep sense of danger from the depths of his heart. This is the soul-swallowing colored glass wood. Looking at the giant tree in front of him, Yi Chunfeng immediately recognized it. It was one of the 10 great ancient trees in the universe, the soul-swallowing colored glass wood. Although the divine power of the 10 great ancient trees was far less than that of the 3 great godly trees, the soul-swallowing colored glass wood in front of him had existed for too long. The divine power it contained had reached an extremely terrifying level. If the Chaos Dharma Idol devoured this soul-swallowing colored glass wood, it would greatly increase the Chaos Dharma Idol's power and strengthen Yi Chunfeng's foundation. Bang! 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 As Yi Chunfeng approached, the soul-devouring glazed wood step by step. The ground beneath his feet suddenly trembled. Thick tree roots broke out of the hard ground and attacked Yi Chunfeng like an earth dragon. The moment the soul-swallowing colored glass wood's tree roots attacked Yi Chunfeng, the tall ancient trees seemed to come alive. They swayed their lush canopies and reflected endless light as they attacked Yi Chunfeng. Chaos Domain. Facing the attack of the ancient trees, tree roots, and canopies, Yi Chunfeng did not dodge. Instead, he opened up his powerful domain power and constantly neutralized the danger as he approached the soul-swallowing colored glass wood. Human, be obedient and become my fertilizer. An old face suddenly appeared from the soul-swallowing colored glass wood and let out a ferocious roar. The terrifying sound waves were like billions of spring thunder, exploding in Yi Chunfeng's ears and attacking his soul. Chaos Fist. Withstanding the terrifying roar released by the soul-swallowing color glasswood, Yi Chunfeng instantly ignited his primordial blood and merged it with the chaos domain. He raised his strength to 600 trillion kilograms and blasted out the chaos fist at the soul-swallowing color glasswood. Withstanding Yi Chunfeng's tyrannical punch that could shatter stars, the soul-swallowing colored glasswood's thick tree trunk immediately cracked. The terrifying power blasted the soul-swallowing colored glasswood hundreds of meters away, revealing its dragon-like, glassy tree roots. Human, you have angered me. Chapter 2172. Boom! The huge tree stump collided with Yi Chunfeng's fist. More than 600 billion pounds of force poured into the tree stump. The powerful force cracked the tree stump and forced the soul-devouring glazed wood to retreat. You! How can you have such terrifying strength? The soul-devouring glazed wood stared at Yi Chunfeng with its turbid old eyes and roared loudly. A mere tree spirit doesn't need to know so much. Yi Chunfeng didn't give the soul-devouring glazed wood a chance to breathe. He continued to launch a fierce attack with the sword steps. He relied on his absolute strength to suppress the soul-devouring glazed wood. Yi Chunfeng completely suppressed its attacks. The soul-devouring glazed wood immediately controlled the surrounding ancient trees to attack Yi Chunfeng. However, Yi Chunfeng's physical body was too terrifying. Before the ancient trees could attack Yi Chunfeng's physical body, they were shattered by the surging power in his body. Danger! Just as Yi Chunfeng launched a tidal wave of attacks at the soul-devouring glazed wood, intending to destroy its ancient tree body, the god-devouring brain, which was rapidly deducing, suddenly sensed danger. A black shadow flew out from the chaos of the ancient trees at an extremely fast speed. A sword pierced towards Yi Chunfeng's back, wanting to pierce through him in one strike. Time stopped. At this critical moment, Yi Chunfeng suddenly stopped time and forcibly froze the black shadow who attacked him in midair, unable to move. Then, Yi Chunfeng withstood the attack of the soul-devouring glazed wood. He suddenly turned around and merged with the chaos territory. He raised his physical strength to the extreme and threw out a punch that could shatter the void. Boom! With a punch, the space in front of the black figure immediately wrinkled. The terrifying power slammed into his body and sent him flying, leaving behind a large amount of blood in the air. Well, he's not dead. Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows and revealed a look of surprise. He was surprised that this black shadow's body didn't shatter after receiving his punch. Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to press the advantage and kill the black shadow, the enraged soul devouring glazed wood attacked. Its dragon-like roots wrapped around Yi Chunfeng. Chaos Dharma form, destroy him for me. At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng summoned the chaotic Dharma idol and ordered it to attack the soul-devouring glazed wood while he chased after the seriously injured black shadow. Chaos Divine Wood. Why is the Chaos Divine Wood on you? The soul-devouring glazed wood instinctively showed a look of fear when it sensed the divine wood aura from the Chaos Dharma idol. Although the soul-devouring glazed wood was one of the 10 great ancient trees of the universe, there is still a big gap between it and the chaotic divine wood. Facing the attack of the chaotic Dharma idol, it was instinctively suppressed. And Yi Chunfeng, with his astonishing speed, had already caught up with the Black Shadow Man who had ambushed him and continued to launch fierce attacks at him. Don't hide your head and show your tail. Quickly reveal your true form. Yi Chunfeng relied on his absolute strength to suppress the Black Shadow Man. He continuously executed supreme superpowers to attack his body, aggravating his injuries. Although the Black Shadow Man had reached the perfect empty god realm, in terms of combat strength, he was far behind Yi Chunfeng. Ancestral swords. Yi Chunfeng threw out an overbearing punch. When the Black Shadow Man was pushed back, he instantly merged with the sword territory and intertwined tens of thousands of invincible divine swords. They engulfed the Black Shadow Man and shredded the black robe that was covering his body, revealing a face full of scars and sword shadows. It was beyond recognition. On his forehead, There are ancient Tao runes that formed the word kill. God Kill Assassin Organization. Looking at the ancient word kill on the Black Shadow Man's forehead, Yi Chenfeng immediately thought of an ancient memory in the soul devouring God's brain. This memory was related to the God Kill Assassin Organization. Legend had it that the God Kill Assassin Organization had been rampant in the ancient times. They had terrorized the various tribes. More than 30 empty gods had died in their hands. However, during an assassination mission, a king of assassins from the God Kill Assassin Organization had killed the holy son of the divine tribe, the number one tribe in the void god world. This had infuriated the leader of the divine tribe, the God Emperor. The God Emperor had gathered all the divine tribe almighties to take revenge on the God Kill Assassin Organization at all costs. After many years of intense killing, the divine tribe had eradicated the God Kill Assassin Organization. However, the divine tribe had suffered a great loss. Some people said that the divine tribe had been annihilated by the divine tribe because of the battle between the divine tribe and the God Kill Assassin Organization. If the divine tribe had not suffered a great loss, the divine tribe might not have been able to annihilate them. A centipede dies but never falls down. I didn't expect the God Kill Assassin Organization to still exist in this world. Yi Chenfeng's eyes narrowed. He continued to attack the Black Shadow Man. He wanted to capture him alive and search his soul. Facing Yi Chenfeng, who was undefeatable, the Black Shadow Man immediately executed a strange movement skill and dodged with all his might. Time stopped. The Black Shadow Man had inherited the God Kill Assassin Organization. His movement skill was mysterious. However, under the restriction of time stop, he could not dodge Yi Chenfeng's ferocious attacks. His physical body was severely injured again. He fell heavily to the ground and lost the ability to continue fighting. Divine Essence Pagoda. Suppress. Yi Chenfeng had summoned the Divine Essence Pagoda to suppress the Black Shadow Man. However, the Black Shadow Man suddenly self-destructed, causing Yi Chenfeng's plan to search his soul to fail. The situation is getting more complicated. It seems like I have to hurry up and enter the ruins of deity. Yi Chenfeng muttered to himself. He quickly turned around and returned to the depths of the ancient forest. He and the chaotic Dharma power suppressed the soul, devouring glazed wood together. Under the combined attacks of Yi Chenfeng and the chaotic Dharma power, the soul-devouring glazed wood's injuries worsened. Huge cracks spread across the tree trunk. Chaotic Dharma power devour. The soul-devouring glazed wood's trunk cracked. Yi Chenfeng immediately summoned the universal origin sword and pierced through the tree trunk. He forced the soul-devouring glazed wood back to its original form. The chaotic Dharma power broke into the soul-devouring glazed wood and started devouring it. Ayo, ayo, ayo. Painful cries sounded in the starry sky. Under the frenzied devouring of the chaotic Dharma power, the soul-devouring glazed wood withered rapidly. Finally, it turned into a dead tree and lost its life. After devouring the soul-devouring glazed wood, the chaotic Dharma power more than doubled. Yi Chenfeng did not waste any time. He kept the chaotic Dharma power back into his body and flew into the depths of the ancient forest. He found another powerful space teleportation array and continued to travel into the depths of the ancient path of stars. Time flew by. Soon, 3 months had passed. In these 3 months, Yi Chenfeng used the space teleportation array to travel to many star regions. During the space teleportation array, he encountered danger and was sent to a place of great danger. Fortunately, he was strong enough. He relied on his absolute combat strength to turn the danger into safety. The pearl hair clip also concealed his aura, allowing him to avoid many dangers. In the end, Yi Chenfeng killed many dangers in the danger zone and obtained several 6-colored luminous pearls that contained pure divine power. He refined them into his body and increased his strength. I finally found you. When Yi Chenfeng appeared in a severely damaged herb garden floating in the starry sky, a cold voice rushed into his ears. Chapter 2173. It's you. Why are you looking for me? Yi Chen-feng said indifferently as he glanced at the charming woman and the late-stage faux god fiend king White Tiger, whose fiendish aura surged into the sky. "Oomph. Why do you think I'm looking for you?" The charming woman looked at Yi Chen-feng with hatred and said, "Tiger King. He was the one who bullied me back then and stole my treasures. Tiger King, please seek justice for me and take revenge for me." The charming woman said with tears in her eyes. "Roar, leave it to me." The White Tiger Demon King roared and stared at Yi Chen-feng with blood-red eyes. He said with murderous intent, "If you don't want to die, get lost." Although Yi Chen-feng did not know what method the charming woman used to bewitch the White Tiger Demon King, he was not interested in the charming woman or the White Tiger Demon King in the slightest. "You're courting death." The White Tiger Demon King was enraged when he saw the disdain in Yi Chen-feng's eyes. He opened his mouth and let out a ferocious roar. Rolling demonic aura gushed out and bombarded Yi Chen-feng. However, before the terrifying demonic aura could hit Yi Chen-feng, it was dispersed by the power that he exuded. So you're an empty god realm master." The White Tiger Demon King stared and opened his mouth. He spat out an 8 trigrams array, which evolved into a mysterious Tao essence and attacked Yi Chen-feng. Break! Yi Chen-feng did not dodge the attack of the 8 trigrams array. Instead, he threw out a punch to meet the attack. The terrifying fist radiance had unparalleled destructive power. It shattered the 8 trigrams array and bombarded the 8 trigrams array. The explosive power caused cracks to appear on the 8 trigrams array. What? The 8 trigrams formation was the #1 treasure of the White Tiger Demon clan. Its might was comparable to a void god artifact, but it couldn't withstand the might of Yi Chen-feng's punch. This caused a huge wave to surge in the White Tiger Demon King's heart. The look in his eyes changed drastically. "Who are you?" The White Tiger Fiend King discovered that Yi Chen-feng was far more horrifying than he had imagined. He no longer took the initiative to provoke Yi Chen-feng. "Isn't it a little too late to ask about my identity now?" Yi Chen-feng sneered. He turned into a dazzling afterimage and appeared in front of the White Tiger Demon King. He swung his palm and slapped the huge White Tiger Demon King away. "No, don't come over." Seeing Yi Chen-feng send the White Tiger Demon King flying with a single slap and then looking at her, the charming woman was scared out of her wits. "I didn't want to kill you, but you really don't cherish your life." Yi Chen-feng's steps were heavy as he walked towards the pale-faced beauty. The terrifying pressure from his fleshly body caused her to suffocate. "Wait, it's all my fault this time. As long as you let me go, I'm willing to agree to any of your conditions." The charming woman was terrified and pitifully begged, "Supreme Deity Clan Leader, help." Just when Yi Chen-feng was about to make a move to kill the charming woman and the White Tiger Demon King, the White Tiger Demon King suddenly noticed a figure that flickered with the light of Tao insight tear through the sky, and he was overjoyed in his heart as he opened his bloody mouth and loudly cried for help. "Supreme Deity Heaven." Through the gaps of the ancient trees, Yi Chen-feng saw Supreme Deity Heaven appear. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he revealed a cold smile. "Tiger King." Hearing the White Tiger Demon King's cry for help, Supreme Deity Heaven, who was wearing a dark golden robe and standing on the Wheel of Heaven path, frowned slightly. Thinking of the cooperation between the Sky Clan and the White Tiger Clan, he quickly flew down. Because Yi Chen-feng's hair clip covered his aura, Supreme Deity Heaven did not discover Yi Chen-feng's existence for a while. "Supreme Deity Clan Leader, help. This person wants to kill us. Supreme Deity Clan Leader, please help us." When the desperate charming woman saw Supreme Deity Heaven appear, she knelt on the ground without caring about her image. She allowed her collar to fall, revealing her beautiful cleavage. "You're going to be disappointed. I'm afraid Supreme Deity Heaven can't help you," Yi Chen-feng said flatly as he looked at Supreme Deity Heaven with his hands behind his back. "Yi Chen-feng, it's you." Looking at Yi Chen-feng, Supreme Deity Heaven's face changed slightly as a few thoughts flashed through his mind. Although he had obtained many rare opportunities on the ancient road of the starry sky, and his strength had increased, he realized that Yi Chen-feng's strength had also increased significantly. He was only half a step away from breaking through the peak empty god realm. Furthermore, it was not wise to fight with Yi Chunfeng at this time. That's right, it's me. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, Supreme Deity Heaven, I wonder if you are willing to help them and fight with me in advance. Yi Chunfeng, don't be arrogant. When His Majesty Emperor God becomes a god, he will destroy your entire family. Several thoughts flashed through Supreme Deity Heaven's mind. In the end, his rationality prevailed over his impulse. He left behind some harsh words and immediately flew away. Supreme Deity Clan Leader, don't go. You can't abandon us. Seeing that Supreme Deity Heaven did not dare to make a move and left quickly, the White Tiger Demon King and the charming woman panicked and shouted loudly. Don't shout. It's useless. No one can save you if you provoke me. Yi Chunfeng said coldly as he looked at Supreme Deity Heaven's back view. He revealed an arrogant smile. Sensing Yi Chunfeng's terror, the White Tiger Demon King did not hesitate to burn his powerful blood qi and increase his speed to the maximum. He turned into a ray of demonic light and fled quickly. The White Tiger Demon King's escape speed was fast, but the Creation Sword Spirit's attack speed was even faster. In the blink of an eye, the Creation Sword Spirit, which had turned into a 3-foot giant sword, slashed the White Tiger Demon King's body, splitting his huge body in half. His demon core and soul shattered at the same time, turning into a cloud of blood mist in midair. He died on the spot. No, don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng killing the White Tiger Demon King with one strike, the charming woman was scared out of her wits. In order to ask Yi Chunfeng to spare her life, she shamelessly tore her clothes, revealing her graceful body. Facing the charming woman's fatal temptation, Yi Chunfeng was unmoved. He controlled the Creation Sword Spirit to slash down and kill her in one strike. After killing the White Tiger Demon King and the charming woman, Yi Chunfeng immediately took their belongings and flew into the depths of this dilapidated herb garden. In the depths of the herb garden, Yi Chunfeng found several precious divine herbs and was attacked by more than 10 terrifying grass dragons. Although the strength of the grass dragons in the herb garden was comparable to a late Nihility God Realm expert, they were no threat to Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng controlled the Creation Sword Spirit and attacked with all his strength. He continuously killed the ferocious grass dragons and obtained the incomparably precious 6 colored light pearls, which he refined into his body. At the same time, he refined more than 10 6-colored light pearls. Yi Chunfeng's divine power had reached saturation. However, it was not easy for a great perfection Nihility God to reach the peak Nihility God realm. Yi Chunfeng tried many methods, but he could not break through the bottleneck and step into the peak Nihility God realm. Forget it, I'll enter the ruins of God first. If it really doesn't work, I'll try using the spirit of gods. Unable to break through, Yi Chunfeng had no choice but to give up. He picked up the divine objects in the herb garden and quickly went to the depths of the herb garden. He broke through the powerful restrictions and activated the Starry Sky teleportation array sealed in the herb garden. He arrived at the depths of the ancient Starry Sky path and was blocked by a long river that seemed to be formed by billions of stars. Chapter 2174. Chunfeng, you're here. A deep voice entered Yi Chunfeng's ears. Yi Wuji, Shen Yaodian, Ancestor Dragon God, Tai, and the others had arrived early. They slowly walked toward Yi Chunfeng. Father, is this the galaxy you were talking about? Seeing that Yi Wuji and the others did not cross the river, Yi Chunfeng knew that this galaxy river was no small matter. That's right, this is the galaxy river, and the ruins of God is on the other side of the galaxy river. Yi Wuji nodded. How do we cross the river? Yi Chunfeng looked at the boundless galaxy river from afar and asked. There's only one way to cross the river, and that's to wait for a starship. Only by riding a starship can one cross the galaxy river. If one tries to cross the galaxy river by force, even virtual gods will die. Yi Wuji explained in detail. However, not every starship can reach the ruins of God. Some starships will bring people to other places of opportunity, and some starships will bring people to their deaths. This river of stars is so terrifying. Yi Qianfeng sucked in a breath of cold air. Yi Qianfeng had fought with Shen Huang before, so he knew very well how terrifying a Nihility God Almighty was. However, the river of stars before his eyes was able to kill a Nihility God Almighty. This made Yi Qianfeng feel even more shocked. Legend has it that the ruins of God is the place where gods die. Even gods can die here. Virtual gods are nothing. Yi Wuji said calmly, "All right, let's wait patiently. I think the starship will appear soon." Time passed day by day. As time passed, more and more Almighties arrived at the Galaxy River. At this moment, endless starlight suddenly fell from the galaxy, condensing into starships that were more than 3 meters long. Whoosh! As soon as the starships appeared, a half-step virtual god jumped onto a starship and drove it toward the end of the Galaxy River. He wanted to be the first to enter the ruins of God. Seeing this half-step virtual god's actions, Shen Huang, Ren Huang, and the others did not move. They watched as he gradually disappeared into the distance. Seeing that this person was not in danger, another person jumped onto the starship, intending to cross the starry river. About half an incense stick worth of time later, a huge whirlpool suddenly appeared in the starry river, blocking the starship's path. When the whirlpool appeared, the expression of the half-step empty God Almighty who was controlling the river of stars changed drastically. He immediately summoned a powerful treasure to attack with all his might, wanting to use his strength to forcefully cross the whirlpool. However, the whirlpool in the river of stars was too terrifying. This almighty half-step virtual god used all his skills to no avail. In the end, he was swallowed by the whirlpool along with his ship, leaving nothing behind. Seeing the death of the first half-step virtual god realm almighty, the faces of the several almighties who were driving the starships and trying to cross the river of stars changed dramatically. They kept praying in their hearts. At this time, an enormous wave that overflowed to the heavens suddenly appeared within the starry river. Within the enormous wave, a beast head that was like a mountain appeared. It stared with a pair of starry eyes, locking onto the several almighty void god realm experts that were getting closer and closer. No! Seeing the cosmic monster that had suddenly appeared before them, the almighties revealed looks of despair. They wanted to turn the ship around and escape. However, the starship was very strange. No one could control it. They could only watch as the cosmic monster got closer and closer. In the end, the cosmic monster opened its bloody mouth and swallowed them all. What a terrifying monster. Father, can you sense the level of that cosmic monster just now? Yi Qianfeng did not expect such a monster to be hidden in the river of stars. He gulped and looked at Yi Wuji, who had a solemn expression, and asked telepathically. That cosmic monster should have the combat strength of an extreme virtual god. If we really fight, I'm afraid I'm no match for it. Yi Wuji said with a cold expression. An extreme virtual god monster. Yi Qianfeng gasped. It was impossible to see such a monster in the outside world. Shen Huang and Ren Huang, who were not far away, looked at the cosmic monster that had suddenly appeared. Their expressions were solemn. Yi Wuji had been to the ruins of gods before, so he was quite knowledgeable about the selection of starships. He transmitted his voice to the others. All right, let's pick a starship quickly. Remember, the starships that can enter the ruins of gods will have a trace of divine aura. You just need to sense the divine aura of the starship. Swoosh! Just as Yi Qianfeng and the rest were sitting cross-legged and releasing their powerful soul power to sense the starships, Ren Huang, who was wearing a long golden robe, suddenly flew up into the sky and landed on a starship. He steered the starship into the distance of the river of stars. Ren Huang, he has found a starship that can enter the ruins of God. Thinking of Ren Huang's strength, no one believed that he would take the initiative to throw his life away. The starship that he had chosen would most likely be able to enter the ruins of God. Indeed, the starship that Ren Huang steered moved faster and faster. In the end, it did not encounter any danger and disappeared before everyone's eyes. Seeing that Ren Huang had entered the ruins of God, Shen Huang's expression turned extremely ugly. However, he knew the consequences of failing to pick a starship. He could only be patient and continue to pick. As time passed, more and more starships appeared at the edge of the River of Stars. Finally, Shen Huang found a starship that contained a divine charm. He steered the starship and disappeared into the River of Stars. Ren Huang and Shen Huang's successive successes gave many people hope. Some people began to risk their lives to choose a starship and cross the River of Stars. Among these people, some succeeded, some failed. There were even some who were taken to a mysterious place by the starship. Divine charm. How can I sense the divine charm? Yi Chunfeng controlled the god-eating brain to deduce at an extremely fast speed. He repeatedly sensed the starships, but he could not sense any divine charm from them. This made him somewhat anxious. I wonder if the spirits of gods have a special ability to sense divine charms. Thinking that the spirits of gods were related to God, Yi Chunfeng's mind stirred. He took out the spirits of gods that were sealed with layers of restrictions. He unlocked part of the restrictions and used the spirits of gods to sense the divine charms in the starships. Yi Chunfeng used the spirits of gods to sense the divine charms. He unexpectedly sensed a mysterious power in a small part of the starships. This power seemed to be the divine charm that Yi Wuji had mentioned. After sensing the mysterious power, Yi Chunfeng did not act rashly. He chose a starship from others and experimented. In the end, after several confirmations, Yi Chunfeng confirmed that the mysterious power he sensed through the spirits of gods was the divine charm. Father, Mother, Primitive Dragon God, Senior Tai, Phoenix God, if you trust me, I will help you choose a starship. Yi Chunfeng suddenly transmitted his voice to Yi Wuji and the others. Why? You can accurately sense the divine charm? Yi Wuji and the others' voices immediately reached Yi Chunfeng's ears. He asked in surprise. After the experiment just now, I can confirm that it should be correct. Yi Chunfeng nodded. He did not tell Tai and the others about the existence of the spirits of gods. All right, tell me which starship you have chosen. I will try it. Yi Wuji, who was skilled and bold, said arrogantly. The 11th starship from the left. Yi Chunfeng transmitted his voice. All right, then I will go first. Everyone be careful. Yi Wuji trusted Yi Chunfeng without a doubt. His body flashed, and he appeared on the 11th starship. He steered the starship toward the other side of the starry river. Looking at Yi Wuji, who was getting farther and farther away, everyone became nervous. It could be said that Yi Wuji was their backbone. He was also their reliance against divine glory and the human sovereign. Nothing could happen to him. Under the nervous gazes of Yi Chunfeng and the others, Yi Wuji steered the starship faster and faster. In the end, it disappeared before everyone's eyes. Looks like Chunfeng chose the right starship. Chapter 2175. How could this be? Why did they choose the right starship? Seeing that the starship chosen by Yi Chunfeng and the others did not encounter any danger and was heading to the other side at an extremely fast speed, everyone's eyes were fixed on Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng did not pay attention to everyone's gazes. He sat cross-legged on the shore and used the spirits of gods to sense the divine charm of the starships. Junior, tell this god how you can choose the right starship time and time again. Mo Gu, who was wearing a black robe and emitting a monstrous devil chi, slowly walked over. He looked at Yi Chunfeng with a gloomy face and asked loudly, "It's just good luck." Yi Chunfeng opened his eyes slightly and glanced at Mo Gu, who was at the peak of the empty god realm, and said indifferently, although Mo Gu's strength was terrifying, Yi Chunfeng's strength had improved significantly in the past 5 months on the ancient Star Road. Therefore, he was not afraid of him. Is that so? Obviously, Mo Gu did not believe Yi Chunfeng's words. Kid, if you're willing to tell me the method, how about we write off the enmity between you and the Devil Clan? Really? Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly, revealing a smile. Yama God is dead. This god is the emperor of the Devil Clan. No one dares to disobey this god. Mo Gu said arrogantly. Well, Since you want to know, I will tell you. Yi Chen-feng said indifferently. Every starship has its own spirituality. You have to try to communicate with them. Perhaps there will be a miraculous effect. You are not lying to me. Mo Gu's eyebrows were tightly knitted together as he said doubtfully. Believe it or not, we used this method to choose the starship to the other side of the ruins of gods. Yi Chen-feng said with a shrug. After saying that, he no longer paid attention to the gloomy Mo Gu and continued to look for a suitable starship with the help of the spirits of gods. At this time, more and more starlight fell from the starry sky and continued to condense into starships. Many powerful people who believed in Yi Chen-feng's method began to communicate with starships, try to find the starship to the other side, but all of them failed. Whoosh! An ear-piercing sound rang out. Yi Chen-feng, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened his eyes and flew towards a starship. However, the moment Yi Chen-feng flew towards the starship, Ancient Devil, White Tiger Demon God, and the others all leaped into the air, wanting to compete for the starship that Yi Chen-feng had chosen. Seeing Mo Gu and the others rapidly approaching, Yi Chen-feng's lips curled into a cold smile. Just as he was about to land on the starship, he suddenly turned around. Not good, it's a trap. Ancient Demon and the White Tiger Monster God had been observing Yi Chen-feng's every move the entire time. The moment he turned around, the two of them immediately reacted, withstanding the terrifying pressure erupting from Yi Chen-feng and stopping him midair. Ancient Demon and the White Tiger Monster God relied on their powerful strength to escape, but the several Void God Realm Masters who wanted to snatch the starship were not spared. They were all forced to land on the starship by the powerful pressure released by Yi Chen-feng. A starship could only be steered by one person, and once it was chosen, it could not be changed. Therefore, even if this starship sailed to the other side, only one person could survive. Although these people gritted their teeth in hatred, they had no way to retreat. As the starship sailed to the other side of the Star River, they began to fight fiercely. Just as the battle reached its climax, the ferocious beast head emerged from the Star River, opened its bloody maw, and swallowed the people and the starship. Yi Chen-feng, you dare deceive us? Ancient Demon said with a gloomy expression. If he hadn't been careful, he might have already fallen into Yi Chen-feng's trap and died in the mouth of the Starry Sky Monster. What do you mean? Did I ask you to follow me? Yi Chen-feng stood in midair and looked at Ancient Demon indifferently. After saying that, Yi Chen-feng's body flashed and appeared on a starship. Where do you think you're going? Seeing that Yi Chen-feng had chosen a starship, Ancient Demon rushed over without hesitation. He wanted to snatch the starship that Yi Chen-feng was steering. Primitive Fist. Yi Chen-feng instantly fused with the great Desolate domain and increased his strength to 600 trillion genes. He blasted out a punch that could traverse the universe and bombarded Mo Gu, trying to force him back. However, Ancient Demon was a peak empty god, and his strength was terrifying. He held a grayish-brown tortoise shell in front of him, blocking the destructive power of the Primitive Fist. Ancient Demon Shadow. Using the tortoise shell as a defense, Ancient Demon forcibly stabilized his body and split into 3 Ancient Demon Shadows, attacking Yi Chen-feng from 4 different directions. Sword Realm Merge. With a thought, Yi Chen-feng summoned the Universal Origin Sword and merged it with the Sword Realm. He evolved the Supreme Sword Principle and swept towards the 3 Ancient Demon Shadows, crushing them instantly. The Ancient Demon Shadows were crushed, but Ancient Demon seized the opportunity and appeared on the starship. He fought with Yi Chen-feng for control of the starship. Mo Gu, you brought this upon yourself. The starship could only send one person to the other side. In other words, Yi Chen-feng and Ancient Demon could only survive. Chaotic Celestial Phase Merge. Yi Chen-feng instantly merged with the Chaotic Celestial Phase and burned his primordial blood and God's heart. He raised his combat strength to the level of a peak empty god and held the Universal Origin Sword to fight with Ancient Demon on the starship. Stone Ancestor, who do you think will survive in the end? The White Tiger Demon God, said with a grave expression as he watched the starship fly away, and Yi Qinfeng and Jian Wushuang fight intensely on the starship. It's hard to say. Stone Ancestor shook his head and said, but if it were me, I wouldn't dare to fight with that kid for the starship. Yes, like father, like son. Yi Wuji's son is no ordinary person. I think Ancient Demon is going to suffer a great loss. A tall and thin old man with shriveled skin and slightly slow movements walked over and said in a hoarse voice. This old man was known as the Tree Ancestor. Although his body was far inferior to the 3 sacred trees and the 10 ancient trees, he was the oldest tree in the Void God realm. The power he contained was far from what the 10 ancient trees could compare to. I don't think so. White Tiger Demon God shook his head and said, I am familiar with Ancient Demon. He is a very cautious person. If he dares to snatch Yi Qinfeng's starship in front of everyone, he must have a heaven-defying trump card. I believe he will have the last laugh. Yes, Ancient Demon is a peak empty god after all. His realm is far superior to Yi Qinfeng's. I think Yi Qinfeng is doomed. A man shrouded in a black robe slowly walked over. His appearance couldn't be seen clearly. Then let's wait and see. I believe the outcome will be decided soon. Stone Ancestor glanced at the mysterious black-robed man and said coldly. While everyone was talking, the battle between Yi Qinfeng and Ancient Demon had reached a white-hot stage. However, the starship was so strong that the destructive force caused by the battle between the two could not destroy it. Chapter 2176. No, we have to kill Mo as soon as possible. Otherwise we'll be in real danger. The appearance of these starry sky monsters made Yi Qinfeng and Mo smell a deep sense of danger. They no longer dared to show mercy and use their most powerful trump cards to kill each other. Genesis Demon Bead Fuse. Mo opened his mouth and spat out a pitch-black bead that was as heavy as a mountain. When this bead was embedded in his forehead, his combat strength increased by nearly 10 times, putting a great deal of pressure on Yi Qinfeng. Genesis Demon Bead, one of the greatest treasures of the Origin Demon race. How could the Genesis Demon Bead be in Mo's possession? Could it be that the enmity between Mo and the Yama God was because of this Genesis Demon Bead? This brat, that Yi Qinfeng is in trouble. Mo's strength is already terrifying, and now that he has the Genesis Demon Bead, I'm afraid that Yi Qinfeng won't be able to reverse the situation. Many sharp-eyed people could see that the bead embedded in Mo's forehead was the Genesis Demon Bead, the greatest treasure of the Origin Demon race. It contained an unimaginable amount of energy. Dual Domains Fuse. As Mo's strength skyrocketed, Yi Qinfeng immediately fused the power of his dual domains, further increasing his combat strength. Then, Yi Qinfeng forcibly stopped time, restricting Mo's mobility. Time stop. You've actually mastered the most mysterious time laws. With his mobility restrained by the time laws, Mo's complexion changed. He immediately opened his powerful demon domain, wanting to shatter the time stop space. At this time, the good fortune sword soul flew out of Yi Qinfeng's spiritual sea, pouring down a waterfall of good fortune as it slashed towards Mo. The terrifying sword power made Mo feel a deep sense of danger. He immediately separated his left hand, supporting a part of the world to resist with all his strength. Mirror Image Doppelganger. As Mo relied on his formidable strength to resist the good fortune sword soul's attack, Yi Qinfeng immediately split into 3 perfect Void God Realm Mirror Image Doppelganger and attacked Mo from 3 directions, drawing in his energy. Demon Domain. As Yi Qinfeng's 3 mirror image avatars attacked, Ancient Devil immediately pushed his demon domain to the limit, going all out to defend himself. But under the dual attacks of the Great Desolate Domain and the Sword Domain, Mo's Devil Domain shattered, and the 3 mirror image avatars simultaneously attacked his body. The way of equipment manipulation. Facing the attack of the 3 mirror images, Mo's body trembled slightly. Seizing the opportunity when Mo was defending against the three mirror images, Yi Chen-feng summoned several Great Void immortal tools. Using the Tao of equipment controlling, he raised the offensive power of each of the Void immortal tools and the Myriad Origin sword to the extreme. Then, he threw them out with all his might, bombarding Mo. Boom, boom, boom. A series of deafening explosions rang out. Even though Mo's strength had skyrocketed after fusing with the Genesis Devil Pearl, he was still attacked by the Myriad Origin Sword and several other Great Void Divine artifacts at the same time. His body was on the verge of collapsing as he retreated to the front of the ship. 10,000 swords returned to Origin. Desolate Fist. Myriad Gods Extermination. Myriad Gods Tribulation. Seeing Mo fall outside the starship, Yi Chen-feng instantly launched 3 supreme divine abilities. The eruption of supreme power caused the incomparably hard space above the starry river to crack as they bombarded Mo. At this critical moment, Mo stimulated the potential in his body. He kept controlling his lifeblood to fuse into the Origin Devil Bead, increasing the Origin Devil Bead's power to its maximum. His battle prowess was amplified as he wielded the 2 ultimate Void God artifacts to defend against the 3 supreme divine abilities. Boom, boom, boom. As the 2 fought fiercely, the destructive power they created was incomparably terrifying. The void trembled violently, and huge waves surged up in the starry river. As for the star monster that was eyeing them covetously, it was enraged by the destructive power of their fight. It opened its bloody mouth and let out an earth-shattering roar at the 2 of them. Although Yi Chen-feng and Mo were powerful, their souls were injured by the roar of the space monster. A large amount of blood flowed out from their 7 orifices. Heavens, the space monster is angry. They won't be eaten by the space monster, will they? It's best if they're eaten. That way, we'll have one less strong competitor. Seeing the killing intent in the space monster's eyes grow thicker and thicker, some of the experts on the shore became nervous, some exclaimed, and some gloated, praying that the 2 would be eaten by the space monster. Mo obediently get off the starship and feed the space monster. Yi Chen-feng had the god-devouring brain to suppress the soul. When Mo woke up from his dizziness, he roared and raised his strength to the limit. Like a falling star, he rammed into Mo. Boom! Sensing the danger, although Mo woke up in an instant, he could no longer dodge. He could only use his supreme divine power to meet Yi Chen-feng's all-out attack head-on. Although Mo was strong, he still lost control of his body after receiving Yi Chen-feng's 600 trillion gene of force. He was thrown into the turbulent starry river. This scene caused the spectating experts from the various major forces to cry out in surprise. Ancient Demon Shadow. Seeing Mo lose control of his body and fall into the starry river, becoming a ghost in the mouth of the space monster, he immediately used the ancient demon clan's inherited movement technique, instantly transforming into several shadows as he tried to return to the starship. However, Yi Chen-feng did not give him the chance. He raised his Tao intent to the limit and constantly used supreme divine abilities to attack Mo's true body. Origin Demon Pearl. Origin Demon True Soul. Mo discovered that the space monster's blood-red eyes were looking at him. 2 of his 3 souls were scared out of their wits. He activated the original demon's true soul sealed within the original demon clan. He wanted to use the power of the original demon's true soul to tear apart Yi Chen-feng's continuous attacks and return to the starship. Good Fortune Sword Soul. Myriad Origin Sword. Fuse. At this critical moment, the Good Fortune Sword Soul fused with the Myriad Origin Sword, increasing its power to the level of a Good Fortune divine artifact. It constantly slashed out sword lights that shook the heavens and earth, causing the sun and moon to change color as it continued to attack Mo. However, after Mo fused with the Origin Demon True Soul, his strength rose to a whole new level. Even with Yi Chen-feng's strongest Myriad Origin Sword, he was unable to injure Mo. Ayo, ayo, ayo. Seeing Mo Gu use the origin demon true soul to return to the starship, the space monster sensed the origin demon true soul, and a trace of greed appeared in its eyes. It opened its mouth wide and let out a heaven-shaking roar, bombarding Mo Gu. Puff, puff, puff. Under the space monster's roar, Mo Gu was immediately injured. A large amount of blood sprayed out from his mouth, greatly slowing his movements. No. When Mo Gu regained his senses, he discovered that the space monster had appeared in front of him and was about to bite him. In despair, Mo Gu used all of his strength to attack, but not only did his attacks fail to harm the space monster, but they also enraged it. Ayo! The space monster bit down and swallowed Mo Gu, who also had the origin demon true soul, into its stomach, causing a large splash in the starry river. Who? Witnessing the space monster swallow Mo Gu, Yi Chenfeng let out a long sigh of relief and sat cross-legged on the starship, silently adjusting his breathing to recover. The space monster stared at Yi Chenfeng with its blood-red eyes. It didn't chase after him and instead dove into the bottomless starry river, disappearing without a trace. Mo Gu is dead. That Yi Chenfeng's combat strength is so intrepid. After witnessing Yi Chenfeng force Mo Gu out of the starship and swallow the space monster, the shore fell silent. Everyone was shocked by Yi Chenfeng's heaven-shaking strength. In a head-on confrontation, Yi Chenfeng was actually able to force Mo Gu out of the starship. All right, let's hurry up and choose a starship. It's too late. The opportunities in the ruins of God are about to change owners. Everyone stared at the gradually disappearing figure of Yi Chenfeng and continued to sit on the shore, choosing a starship that could sail to the other side. As everyone spared no effort to search, the divine charm of the starship was gradually discovered. Chapter 2177. Ruins of God. We've finally arrived. Yi Chenfeng steered the starship and sailed on the vast and boundless starry river for several months. Finally, he saw the mysterious ruins of God that was shrouded in black fog and concealed the opportunity to become a god. I have to hurry. Yi Chenfeng stepped onto the mysterious fertile land of the ruins of God, took out the heart of God, and tried to use it to sense the ruins of God. There really is a reaction. After trying a few times, Yi Chenfeng felt that the heart of God had formed a special connection with a certain location in the ruins of God. He was overjoyed and quickly flew over. Tombs, so many tombs. When Yi Chenfeng was flying at an extremely fast speed, he discovered that many tombs had appeared beneath him. Many of the tombs were emitting terrifying auras, as if they were hiding heaven-shaking secrets. However, Yi Chenfeng did not slow down because of this. He continued to fly according to the heart of God's reaction and quickly arrived at a divine mountain that was emitting a 5-color divine light. The mountain peak seemed to be hanging like a sun and moon, giving off a majestic and unshakable feeling. 5-colored divine mountain. Looking at the divine mountain in front of him that had an inexplicable connection with the heart of God, Yi Chenfeng did not hesitate to fly into the divine mountain. What's that sound? Not long after Yi Chenfeng flew into the divine mountain, his sharp perception sensed danger. 2 familiar auras were flying towards him at an extremely fast speed. Phoenix God. Looking from afar, Yi Chenfeng discovered a fiery red figure, and this fiery red figure was the Phoenix God. At this time, the clothes on the Phoenix God's body were severely tattered, revealing her snow-white skin, symmetrical collarbones, plump twin peaks, and slender, elastic legs. They were like poison that emitted an enchanting light, attracting people's attention. Behind the Phoenix God, Supreme Shintung, who was dressed in a dark golden robe and standing on the wheel of heaven, followed closely behind. He continuously struck out palm prints with terrifying power, worsening the Phoenix God's injuries. Chenfeng, save me. Seeing Yi Chenfeng in the distance, the pale-faced Phoenix God, with blood trickling from the corner of her mouth, revealed a look of pleasant surprise. Ignoring her injuries, she quickly flew over and threw herself into Yi Chenfeng's arms. Not good, danger! The Phoenix God was as bouncy as a peach and exuded an enchanting charm. When it squeezed itself into Yi Chunfeng's arms, the god-devouring brain, which was rapidly deducing, sensed danger. Yi Chunfeng's expression changed, and he was about to push the Phoenix God, whose clothes were severely damaged, away. Yi Chunfeng's reaction was very fast, but he was still attacked. The fake Phoenix God, whose eyes had turned blood red, continuously launched attacks at him. He heavily bombarded his chest, breaking through his defenses and sending him flying. Large amounts of blood sprayed out from his mouth. Amazing. You actually managed to confuse me. Looking at the fake Phoenix God whose eyes had turned blood red, as well as Jia Tai Shun Tian, Yi Chunfeng immediately swallowed a hollow god pill to suppress the injuries on his body. He was already extremely careful, but he didn't expect that he would still fall for it. The mysterious power in the ruins of God was actually able to see through his heart, create a completely realistic scene, and launch a fatal attack on him. If not for the fact that Yi Chunfeng's body was strong enough, the fake Phoenix God's attack would have been enough to destroy his body. Those who step into the divine mountain die. The fake Phoenix God let out a long and fierce roar as her entire body merged with the space of the divine mountain. Surging divine power surged in from all directions and merged into her body. Swish! The fake Phoenix God struck out with one hand, and the surging divine power transformed into a 5-colored divine spear, piercing through layers of space and piercing towards Yi Chunfeng. At this time, the fake Supreme Immortal Heaven also controlled the power of the divine mountain and launched a fatal attack at Yi Chunfeng, wanting to kill him in one go. The fake Phoenix God and fake Supreme Immortal Heaven's attacks were extremely ferocious, fluctuating and causing small cracks to appear in the tough space. However, there was no trace of panic on Yi Chunfeng's face. He instantly merged with the Chaos Dharma idol and burned his primordial blood and heart of God, raising his combat strength to the extreme. He held the universal sword in his hand and charged forward, tearing apart the attacks of the two. Then, the creation sword spirit flew out of his sea of soul and transformed into hundreds of divine swords in the void. It was like an endless river of swords that swept towards the two of them. While Yi Chunfeng was fighting intensely with the fake Phoenix God and fake Supreme Immortal Heaven, an intense battle was also happening in the depths of the ruins of God. Although Shen Huang, Yi Wuji, and the human emperor were terrifyingly strong, the ruins of God was related to the gods. They had encountered quite a bit of trouble in the ruins of God. As for the stone ancestor, the white tiger demon god, and the others, they controlled the river of stars and gradually approached the ruins of God. Dual domain, suppress. Yi Chunfeng fought intensely with the two mysterious people for more than 2 hours. He pushed the power of the dual domain to the extreme and used all his strength to suppress the fake Phoenix God and fake Supreme Immortal Heaven. Time stopped. When the two of them worked together to shatter the dual domain, Yi Chunfeng immediately stopped time and forcefully froze the two of them. In the next moment, the creation sword spirit fused into the myriad origin sword, activating the profound divine patterns within the myriad origin sword. Yi Chunfeng fused with the myriad origin sword, swallowing the myriad origin chi as he pierced towards the fake Phoenix God. Chi. With one strike, the fake Phoenix God's body was pierced through by the universal sword. The terrifying sword might instantly poured in her body and caused her body to shatter. Chunfeng, you can't kill me. The shattering of her body became more and more serious. The Phoenix God revealed a painful and sorrowful expression. It was impossible to tell if she was real or fake. Even now, you still want to lie to me? Yi Chunfeng was unmoved. He merged with the Desolate domain and blasted out the Desolate fist. He killed the fake Phoenix God with one punch and obtained an incomparably pure 6-colored pearl the size of a fist. After killing one person, Yi Chunfeng didn't stop and immediately launched a fierce attack on the fake Supreme Immortal Heaven. Without the fake Phoenix God restraining him, the fake Supreme Immortal Heaven couldn't withstand Yi Chunfeng's fierce attacks. He was completely suppressed, and his injuries became more and more serious. Die! Yi Chunfeng deduced the power of the sword to the extreme and continuously pierced through the fake supreme, immortal heaven's body. He finally killed him and obtained the second six-colored pearl. Huff, huff, the ruins of God is indeed dangerous. Although he had successfully killed 2 people, Yi Chunfeng still had lingering fears. He realized that he still had to be careful. Only by being more careful could he deal with the dangers that could appear at any time. After a simple adjustment, Yi Chunfeng merged the 2 six-colored pearls into his body. He borrowed the supreme divine power of the 2 pearls to break through to the peak of the nihility god realm. In about 3 days, Yi Chunfeng had completely refined the 2 six-colored pearls. The bottleneck of the realm loosened, but it wasn't enough for Yi Chunfeng to step into the peak of the nihility god realm. With the increase of his battle strength, Yi Chunfeng didn't hesitate. He continued to fly towards the sacred mountain according to the senses of the spirits of gods to search for other opportunities. Along the way, Yi Chunfeng didn't find any great opportunities in the deep mountains. Instead, he encountered quite a bit of trouble. Ancient trees that had turned into spirits and demonic beasts that had lived for countless years constantly intercepted him. Yi Chunfeng didn't shrink back in the face of danger. With the myriad origin sword in hand, he fought fiercely and killed all the obstacles in his way. He also obtained several 6-colored light pearls that contained supreme divine power. However, after he had merged all the 6-colored pearls, he realized that his realm had stagnated. It seems like the 6-colored pearls alone aren't enough for me to break through to the peak of the nihility god realm. I still need an opportunity to break through. Since he couldn't use the 6-colored pearls to break through in a short period of time, Yi Chunfeng didn't waste any more time. He refined the 6-colored pearls and followed the senses of the spirits of gods. He gradually approached the peak of the 5-colored sacred mountain. Through the sea of clouds, he vaguely discovered a temple that emitted the sun, moon, and starlight. Chapter 2178. Divine Palace. There's actually a divine palace hidden in the 5-colored sacred mountain. Looking at the divine palace hidden in the sea of clouds, Yi Chunfeng's eyes immediately lit up. He had a feeling that if he could obtain the opportunity in the divine palace, he would definitely be able to reach the peak of the void god realm. Break for me. Arriving outside the divine palace, Yi Chunfeng took in a deep breath and stabbed forward with the universal sword. The sword pierced through the restriction at the entrance of the divine palace and forcefully pushed open the extremely heavy door that had been sealed for countless years. He walked into the divine palace that seemed to have the sun and moon hanging down. That's the sun and moon. Walking into the incomparably spacious divine palace, the first thing that entered Yi Chunfeng's eyes was a blazing sun that released blinding light and a bright moon that shone down. Under the red sun and the crescent moon, there was a sword that was stabbed into the ground. It was a dull sword without any Tao inscriptions, and only the hilt remained. However, when Yi Chunfeng looked at the sword that was stabbed into the divine palace, he could feel how terrifying it was. He had a feeling that the power of this sword had definitely surpassed the universal sword and had reached a level that he could not imagine. Yi Chunfeng looked around and discovered that there was nothing else in the divine palace apart from the red sun, crescent moon, and mysterious sword. However, when he walked towards the mysterious sword and attempted to pull it out, the scene before him suddenly changed. An unfathomable old man in a white robe with a snow-white beard that touched the ground appeared in front of him and blocked his path. The old man opened his tightly shut eyes and looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was not far away, and said in a deep voice, "Junior, this is not a place where you should be. Go back to where you came from. I will naturally leave after obtaining that sword." Yi Chunfeng stared at the unfathomable old man in white robes and had no intention of leaving. "If that's the case, then allow me to send you away." An astonishing power erupted from the white-robed old man's body. It quickly condensed into an extremely huge handprint. It evolved the will of the sun, moon, and stars as it pressed towards Yi Chunfeng. As the old man sent out a palm strike, Yi Chunfeng felt as though the space around him was being sealed. He instantly raised his combat strength to the maximum as he wielded the Myriad Origin Sword to receive the attack. Yi Chunfeng had fused with the Myriad Origin Sword and unleashed a sword strike that was beyond imagination. However, when it struck the old man's palm imprint, it was unable to move the palm imprint at all and was knocked back several meters. Desolate Fist. The Myriad Origin Sword radiance was shattered. Yi Chunfeng immediately fused with the Chaos Domain and blasted out a punch of over 600 trillion gene, shattering the giant palm imprint. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect you to be able to break through my palm attack with your strength at the great perfection of the empty god realm. The white-robed old man said coldly as he sent out a second palm strike towards Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng relied on his powerful strength and physical body to take on the white-robed old man's 6 palm strikes head-on. However, he could no longer bear it and was sent flying by the violent palm imprint. He spat out a large amount of blood in midair and fell outside the entrance of the Divine Palace. So strong. That white-robed old man's combat strength should be close to the extreme empty god realm. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and wiped away the blood at the corner of his mouth. He struggled to sit up and quickly consumed a void soul pill to heal his injuries. While he was healing, the God-Eater brain rapidly deduced the process of the battle with the white-robed old man. About a day later, Yi Chunfeng returned to the sacred palace and engaged in a fierce battle with the white-robed old man whose strength was unfathomable. Although Yi Chunfeng had made thorough preparations this time, he could only withstand 10 moves from the white-robed old man before he was sent flying out of the Divine Palace by the violent attacks. He suffered more serious injuries than the first time. Although his injuries had worsened, Yi Chunfeng did not show any signs of depression. Instead, he was pleasantly surprised. Obviously, he had gained a lot from the battle with the white-robed old man. Just as I guessed, the white-robed old man is not a real living being, but an evolution of the rules of the Divine Palace. As long as I can deduce the rules of the Divine Palace, I can find his weakness and defeat him. Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. He healed his injuries while controlling the God-Eater brain to deduce rapidly. After a few more days, Yi Chunfeng stepped into the Divine Palace again to challenge the white-robed old man. Days passed by. Although Yi Chunfeng's injuries were more severe each time, his gains were greater and greater. Through the rapid deduction of the God-Eater brain, Yi Chunfeng gradually captured the essence of the rules of the Divine Palace. Junior, I advise you not to make any more pointless attempts. With your strength in the exceptional empty god realm, it is impossible for you to defeat me. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who had entered the Divine Palace for the 17th time, the white-robed old man was still cold and emotionless. I don't believe in this. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and attacked the white-robed old man with the universal sword in his hand. He fought fiercely with the white-robed old man in the Divine Palace. Relying on his invincible strength, the white-robed old man broke through Yi Chunfeng's attack and threw a punch at Yi Chunfeng's chest. He wanted to severely injure Yi Chunfeng with one punch and throw him out of the Divine Palace. 100 layers of space. At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng deduced the rules of space to the extreme and formed layers of space in front of him to take on the white-robed old man's invincible punch. Ka. After comprehending the 7-fold rules of space, Yi Chunfeng's 100 layers of space was even more powerful. However, it couldn't withstand the white-robed old man's invincible punch. However, when the 100 layers of space was broken, Yi Chunfeng seized the opportunity and dodged to the side. He controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce the rules of the Divine Palace. Junior, let's see where you can hide. The white-robed old man's deep eyes locked onto Yi Chunfeng. He controlled the terrifying rules of space to descend from the sky like a waterfall and suppressed Yi Chunfeng's body. Where is the weakness? The moment Yi Chunfeng's body was suppressed by the rules of the Divine Palace, the God-Eater brain quickly deduced the rules of the Divine Palace and deduced where the white-robed old man's weakness was. Superpower mirror image. After locking onto the white-robed old man's weakness, Yi Qianfeng forcefully split out 3 mirror image clones to help him resist the falling rules of the Divine Palace. He exploded with a force of over 6 million Jin and forcefully approached the white-robed old man. As Yi Qianfeng approached, the white-robed old man's hands moved rapidly and produced a powerful light seal. Time stopped. Before the white-robed old man could produce this light seal, Yi Qianfeng suddenly stopped time. Although the white-robed old man was strong enough to break the time stop in an instant, Yi Qianfeng seized this fleeting opportunity and controlled the creation sword soul to stab at the white-robed old man's weakness. You actually found my weakness. With his weakness attacked, the white-robed old man's body cracked like broken glass. He opened his eyes wide and looked at Yi Qianfeng in disbelief. Universal Origin Sword, break for me. While the white-robed old man was heavily injured, Yi Qianfeng poured all the strength in his body into the Universal Origin Sword and threw it out forcefully. The Universal Origin Sword, which was extremely sharp and could cut through all obstacles, pierced through the white-robed old man's weakness and shattered his body. As the white-robed old man shattered, a large amount of energy appeared in the Divine Palace like a white stream and crazily entered Yi Qianfeng's body. It crazily increased his strength and purified the divine power in his body. In less than half an incense's time, Yi Qianfeng was pleasantly surprised to find that the bottleneck that he had been unable to break through was broken. God's punishment, my God's punishment has arrived. With the bottleneck broken, Yi Qianfeng immediately felt the aura of the God's punishment lock onto him. He hesitated for a moment before leaving Sun Moon Divine Hall and appearing outside. Chapter 2179. Boom, boom, boom. Tribulation clouds rolled in from all directions, and the sky above Sun Moon Divine Hall suddenly changed. The terrifying power of the divine punishment spread for dozens of miles as if the end of the world had arrived. It alarmed many almighty cultivators of the Void God realm who were lucky enough to enter the ruins of God. What happened? Who is going through tribulation in the ruins of God? I don't know, but to be able to attract the divine punishment, it has to be at least an almighty at the peak of the Void God realm. Let's not go over. Many people chose to retreat, but there were still 2 people who were attracted by the divine punishment that was about to fall. They discovered the 5-colored sacred mountain and quickly flew to the peak of the mountain. Ancient ancestral flags, seal the space for me. To be safe, Yi Qianfeng summoned hundreds of ancient ancestral flags and sealed the area, guarding against any danger that might appear at any time. He adjusted his breath and waited for the divine punishment to fall. It's that boy. As the energy produced by the tribulation clouds became more and more terrifying, 2 almighty cultivators with terrifying strength quietly arrived at the peak of the 5-colored sacred mountain. They found Yi Qianfeng, who was sitting cross-legged and preparing to receive the divine punishment, as well as the divine palace that was descending with the power of the sun and moon. Tiger God, why don't we play big and kill him when he is going through tribulation? We can take all his treasures and the opportunity in the divine palace. The tall and sturdy black tortoise god, who was filled with explosive muscles and looked like an iron tower, glared at the distant Yi Qianfeng with his round eyes and suggested with a voice projection, "Since Brother Black Tortoise is interested, then this god will gamble with you." The white tiger demon god glanced at Sun Moon Divine Hall with a trace of greed in his eyes. He decided to take the risk to kill Yi Qianfeng. Although it was very risky to kill Yi Qianfeng in the divine punishment, if Yi Qianfeng broke through to the peak of the Void God realm, then he and the Black Tortoise God would not be Yi Qianfeng's opponent even if they teamed up. The opportunity in Sun Moon Divine Hall would not be theirs. Time passed minute by minute. The terrifying tribulation clouds that had been nurtured for 3 days and 3 nights began to swirl, twisting the entire void and causing the entire space to fall into chaos. However, the 5-colored sacred mountain was suppressed by Sun Moon Divine Hall and was not affected by the divine punishment. Even the ancient trees that grew on the peak of the 5-colored sacred mountain were not affected and stood tall. Come on. Sensing that the god's punishment was about to descend, Yi Qianfeng took a deep breath and summoned the universal sword. He was prepared to receive the god's punishment and break through to the peak of the virtual god realm with all his might. Boom! A deafening clap of thunder rang out from the tribulation clouds that were rotating at high speed, shaking the 9 heavens. In the center of the tribulation cloud vortex, a divine dragon-like divine punishment descended from the sky. It tore through space and bombarded Yi Chen-feng. Dual domains blocked. Feeling the terror of the god's punishment, Yi Chen-feng immediately opened up his dual territory. Using the power of the dual territory, he weakened the power of the god's punishment and used the power of the god's punishment to temper his body and break through to peak virtual god realm. Good chance attack. Watching as Yi Chen-feng was engulfed by the divine punishment, the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god both leaped out from the shadows and launched deadly attacks at Yi Chen-feng. They wanted to aggravate his injuries and destroy him in the divine punishment. Buzz, 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 as the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god attacked, a mysterious array floated in the air and forcefully blocked their attacks. A mere ancestral array wants to stop me. The white tiger demon god snorted coldly. He opened his bloody mouth and spat out beams of terrifying demonic light. Together with the black tortoise god, he attacked the ancestral array formed by hundreds of ancestral flags. White tiger demon god, black tortoise god. Yi Chen-feng, who was using the power of the god's punishment to temper his body and break through to peak virtual god realm, was immediately distracted when he saw the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god. His face darkened. Although the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god were almighties at the peak of virtual god realm, if they were to cause trouble at all costs, they would still cause a lot of trouble for Yi Chen-feng. They might even cause an accident during his heavenly tribulation and leave behind injuries that were difficult to heal, just like Yi Wuji. Chaos body, devour the god's punishment. Feeling that the damage to the ancestral array was getting worse, Yi Chen-feng took a deep breath and controlled the chaos body to devour the god's punishment. He wanted to temper his body thoroughly and break through to peak virtual god realm. Although the chaos body was powerful, devouring the god's punishment directly still caused a lot of damage. At this time, Yi Chen-feng took out the remaining god's origin energy, several 6-colored luminous pearls, and the 2 body-tempering items that he had obtained from the ancient path of stars. He swallowed all of them and used the power of the god's punishment to temper these items into the chaos body. After about half an incense stick's time, the ancestral array was broken. The murderous white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god took the risk to approach Yi Chen-feng, who had been destroyed by the god's punishment, and launched fatal attacks at him. When the 2 demon gods attacked Yi Chen-feng with all their might, they were also attacked by the god's punishment. Black tortoise's armor. Enduring the attack of the god's punishment, the black tortoise god immediately summoned his life treasure, the black tortoise's armor. He controlled the black tortoise's armor to constantly transform, opening up a space to block the god's punishment. With the black tortoise's armor's defense, the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god felt much less pressure. They summoned all their trump cards and attacked Yi Chen-feng with all their might, determined to severely injure him. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Yi Chen-feng took a deep breath and controlled his primal chaos dharma idol to suppress his roiling blood and injuries. Carrying the terrifying god's punishment, he charged at the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god. Not good. Dodge. The 2 demon gods had not expected Yi Chen-feng to be so ferocious, attacking with the god's punishment. They decisively retreated. Destruction of gods, tribulation of gods. As the 2 Yao gods rapidly retreated, Yi Chen-feng fused a large amount of divine retribution power and blasted out his strongest attack. With this attack, the surging god's punishment was guided and merged with the god vanquishing strike. Like the fury of a god, the god's punishment roared and swept toward the 2 demon gods. Roar! Roar! The god vanquishing strike was too terrifying. The 2 demon gods were unable to dodge the god's punishment and could only transform into their strongest combat form, using their void god artifacts to defend with all their might. Puff! Puff! Taking Yi Chunfeng's god-vanquishing strike head-on, the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god were sent flying, leaving behind large amounts of blood in the air. Their injuries were not light. After Yi Chunfeng's strongest attack, it was immediately annihilated by the terrifying god's punishment. "Brother Black Tortoise, are you all right?" The white tiger demon god asked softly as he crawled up from the ground and spat out a large mouthful of blood. He looked at the heavily injured black tortoise god and asked softly, "Motherf *Cur, this Yi Chunfeng is too abnormal." The black tortoise god cursed. Under such circumstances, he can still unleash such a destructive attack. If not for this god's strong defense, that attack would have taken away half of my life. No matter what, we still affected Yi Chunfeng's tribulation. The white tiger demon god said with a gloomy expression, "After unleashing such a destructive attack, I don't think he has it easy either. This god wants to see how he will take on the god's punishment." The white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god were both injured and did not dare to provoke Yi Chunfeng anymore. They hid far away to heal their injuries and prayed that Yi Chunfeng would fail his tribulation and die under the god's punishment. Even if Yi Chunfeng survived the god's punishment, the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god believed that with their strength, they would be able to kill the weakened Yi Chunfeng. As time passed, the power of Yi Chunfeng's god's punishment became more and more terrifying. Yi Chunfeng, who was in the middle of the god's punishment, was struck by the god's punishment until his skin and flesh were lacerated. Although his physical injuries were severe, Yi Chunfeng's condition was not bad. With the baptism of the god's punishment, he had completely refined several great body-tempering divine items and had almost reached the divine body realm from the divine change 9 transformations. Under the baptism of the god's punishment, the bottleneck of the pinnacle of the void god realm was also filled with crisscrossing cracks. Under the protection of his chaos aspect, his life, soul, and cultivation foundation were not damaged at all. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng had broken through to the pinnacle of the void god realm, the rapidly revolving tribulation cloud suddenly drained all of its energy and launched its final attack on Yi Chunfeng. Poof! Poof! After suffering the final baptism of the god's punishment, even his powerful desolate body was struck by the god's punishment until his skin and flesh were lacerated. Large amounts of flesh and blood were instantly destroyed by the god's punishment. Enduring the immense pain, Yi Chunfeng forcefully opened up his 2 domains and frantically refined the fatal god's punishment that had broken through his body to break through to the pinnacle of the void god realm. Chapter 2180. God's Punishment Break. After breaking through to the peak of the nihility god realm, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength had increased to 150 trillion jin. He let out a roar, and with the amplification of the Hongmeng blood, he blasted out a punch that could destroy the universe. He broke the god's punishment that was descending from the sky and blasted the rapidly revolving calamity cloud apart. This is our chance. The moment the calamity cloud dispersed, the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god both transformed into their strongest battle forms. They wielded their strongest nihility god weapons and attacked Yi Chunfeng. They wanted to kill him while he was at his weakest. You're courting death. Although Yi Chunfeng had just survived the god's punishment and his body was extremely weak, it would not be easy for the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god to kill him. With a thought, the creation sword soul flew out of Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul. It intertwined with the power of creation and slashed at the 2 demon gods. "I'll block it." As the sword spirit of creation attacked, the black tortoise god's huge body exploded with nearly 100 billion pounds of power. He summoned his natal black tortoise armor and placed it in front of him to block the attack of the sword spirit of creation. The white tiger demon god made use of the opportunity when the black tortoise god was defending with all his strength to leap up high. He created a lifelike white tiger shadow that was like a divine stone falling to the ground. He launched a fatal attack at Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng did not dodge the attack of the white tiger. He raised his strength to the maximum and used his own flesh and blood to meet it head-on. He slammed heavily into the white tiger's shadow. Boom! The two powerful forces collided. Yi Chunfeng's injuries worsened, but the white tiger shadow was shattered by Yi Chunfeng's all-out attack. Danger! The moment Yi Chunfeng smashed the white tiger shadow with his strongest strength, the God-Eater brain, which was rapidly deducing, sensed danger. An unimaginable sword radiance pierced through the sky. At a speed that was several hundred times faster than the speed of light, the sword pierced towards Yi Chunfeng's head. At this critical moment, Yi Chunfeng opened up his two domains and used the power of his two domains to block the sword. However, the power of this sword was too great, and Yi Chunfeng was heavily injured. The power of the two domains that he had opened up was greatly reduced, and the sword pierced through them like a hot knife through butter. Pooh! Unable to dodge in time, Yi Chunfeng was stabbed in the chest by the sword. However, when the sword pierced through his body, damaging his life spirit and cultivation foundation, the Chaos Dharma idol unleashed a powerful burst of chaotic force, forcing the black sword to retreat from Yi Chunfeng's chest. Azura. Yi Chunfeng immediately guessed that this person should be the leader of the godly kill assassin organization, the Killing God, as he watched his entire body melt into space. Who is controlling the God-Slay assassin organization? Why are they targeting me? Seeing the sudden appearance of the Azura, Yi Chunfeng had an illusion that he knew the real leader of the God-Slay assassin organization. Otherwise, he would not have been targeted by the God-Slay assassin organization when he had no enmity with them. Yi Chunfeng, today is the day you die. The white tiger demon god did not expect that there was still someone hiding in the dark who wanted to kill Yi Chunfeng. With a roar, he slashed at Yi Chunfeng with a huge saber, determined to kill him. Humph, you want to kill me? You're still too weak. At this critical moment, Yi Chunfeng hid in the universe mirror and appeared in a space where time flowed 50 times faster. Then he took out the life origin spirit pearl and swallowed it. In this space where time flowed 50 times faster, he quickly repaired his severely damaged body and healed his injuries. Come out for me. The black tortoise god roared and threw a punch at the universe mirror that was hidden in the void. Yi Chunfeng added multiple layers of defense to the universe mirror, but still could not withstand the black tortoise god's punch. Ka ka ka. A series of shattering sounds were heard. The universe mirror was shattered by the black tortoise god's punch. Whoosh! After the universe mirror shattered, Yi Chunfeng flew out of the universe mirror at an extremely fast speed and fled into the distance. Where do you think you're going? The white tiger demon deity opened its bloody mouth and spat out a lightning-like demonic light. It attacked Yi Chunfeng, who was flying through the air, and hit him. Bam! Yi Chunfeng's body shattered, and he fell heavily into the distance, no longer breathing. Dead. The white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god exchanged glances. They could not believe that Yi Chunfeng had died so easily. But in the next moment, another Yi Chunfeng flew out of the universe mirror and fled into the distance at an extremely fast speed. In less than 5 breaths, this Yi Chunfeng was killed again. Immediately after, a third Yi Chunfeng appeared. Swish! Just as Yi Chunfeng created his mirror image to stall for time, Slaying God wielded the God-Slayer sword and stabbed at the universe mirror that was hidden in the void. The sword pierced through the universe mirror and stabbed at Yi Chunfeng, who was hiding in the core space of the universe mirror. Divine Wood of Time, defend! At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Divine Wood of Time to block in front of him, blocking the fatal attack of the God-Slayer's sword. Attack this spatial treasure with full force and destroy it as soon as possible. Don't give Yi Chunfeng a chance to heal. Slaying God suddenly spoke in a hoarse voice. Boom! 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 After learning that the black tortoise god had been deceived, the white tiger demon god flew into a rage out of humiliation. He attacked the universe mirror together with Slaying God, destroying the universe mirror. Seeing that the universe mirror was destroyed, Yi Chunfeng, who had been healing for more than an hour in the 50-fold time flow, recovered his physical body with the help of the spiritual pearl of life, and suppressed his injuries, appeared. What? His physical body has recovered. Seeing Yi Chenfeng's physical body recover, the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god's expressions changed slightly. Slaying god's deep eyes also revealed a trace of seriousness. Now it's my turn to attack. Although he had only won a little more than an hour, this was enough for Yi Chenfeng, who had broken through to the peak void god realm. He wielded the myriad origin sword and launched a ferocious attack at the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god. He wanted to kill the two of them first before dealing with the terrifying slaying god, who was suspected to be a peak void god. Black tortoise god, let's go. Yi Chenfeng attacked with shocking killing intent, causing the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god to feel fear. They did not face Yi Chenfeng head-on and instead chose to escape. Isn't it too late to escape now? Yi Chenfeng did not give the two demon gods a chance to escape. Wielding the myriad origin sword, he stabbed forward. As the sword stabbed out, the sun and moon lost their light. The terrifying godless sword stole the brilliance of heaven and earth, evolving the unparalleled sword Dao and killing Dao as it stabbed toward the white tiger demon god. Brother Black Tortoise, save me. Although the white tiger demon god's attack was powerful and was only a step away from breaking through to the peak void god realm, his defense was far inferior to the black tortoise god's. Facing Yi Chenfeng's godless sword, he sensed a strong sense of danger. He used all his trump cards to defend himself while shouting for help. However, the black tortoise god was already scared out of his wits. He did not help at all and fled with all his might. As for slaying god, he glanced at Yi Chenfeng from afar and also chose to flee. Chi! With a slash of the sword, the white tiger demon god's defensive trump cards were all shattered. The terrifying sword ray directly cut through the white tiger demon god's body and crushed his soul, killing him on the spot. After killing the white tiger demon god, who was at the peak of the great perfection of the void god realm, Yi Chenfeng did not slow down. He chased after the black tortoise god, who was like a startled bird fleeing for its life, and launched a fatal attack at him. Although the black tortoise god had the black tortoise armor, he still could not block Yi Chenfeng's ferocious attack. In just 10 breaths, the black tortoise god's life treasure, the black tortoise armor, shattered. The terrifying sword ray pierced through his strong body and crushed his life spirit and soul, killing him. Retrieve. After killing the white tiger demon god and the black tortoise god, Yi Chenfeng took their belongings. He glanced in the direction that slaying god had fled and returned to Sun Moon Divine Hall, preparing to pull out the mysterious sword that was stuck in the center of the Divine Hall.